Good game, another TVP. Here we have Pult versus SOS, Autosis.
That's right, this is going to be a really nice match. SOS, very creative Protoss.
And the three Colossus untouched, and without an answer towards them. I don't think Pult has an answer towards the overall army that SOS has.
He certainly does not. No Ghosts, no Vikings, GG, and SOS takes the first game. Oh, this is
maybe
very
a
rough.
Flank if you could get to the back of the Colossus, maybe.
He definitely is going for the flank. Oh, the first piece does engage. The second piece comes down and actually snipes a lot of High Templars, but this army so strong from SOS.
Yeah, so strong with a lot of units left over, and Pult plummets in supply down to 75. GG is called, and SOS will make it into the semi-finals of the global finals here at BlizzCon.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the man ranked number 12 in the WCS rankings. That makes him officially the dark horse of the tournament to the stage. Wounded Stars, SOS! And like SOS, our next opponent has also taken out great names in the game. The road to the semi-finals looks like this for Startail Bomber.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are moments away from our first round of 16 matchup.
Head-to-head now, MMA against Bomber.
He is the oldest and most experienced player.
Okay, so two Banshees now gunning down workers very quickly. Notice that Banshee in the upper left is going to get back. Meanwhile, a push down here. Quick GG there.
Bomber lost his Raven in that attack.
Yeah.
He lost all his SCVs, he had no detection. All right, well, Bomber now needs to not let nerves get to him coming into this second series.
Pulling at the command center now. Command center getting low, half health, 1/3 health, and it's gone.
And MMA says, all right, you've got me. I've got one last push in me, but look, Bomber's ready. He's got so many Marines. And he says, you know what?
That's going to be it. GG.
Well, that's a beautiful position for Bomber, really beautiful, but there is the drops on the same side on the other. They need to do a lot of damage down here.
Bomber promptly exit out of that game. Then Bomber come back 2 and 3, now sitting at 2-1.
I don't know if it's going to be too effective because I don't know if he's going to have the minerals to make more Marines and bunkers, and that's going to be it. MMA took a gamble and it paid off. He brought it to game number 5. The question is, can he win there?
Bomber crushes this attack. MMA put everything into this with no command center. It's nothing.
GG.
Bomber goes into the quarterfinals here, Tasteless.
He did a fantastic job, and Bomber definitely every reason to be confident.
All right, Kev, here we go. After denying that hatchery, what a great push from the Startail Terran.
That roll by Bomber was so sick. He unborrowed his mind like 3, 4, 5 times. So Bomber with some sick execution there in the counter aggression.
Oh my God, GG Bomber! He was dead. His economy had been ravaged. Soki was everywhere, and just like that, Bomber marches across the map with more than 80 Marines. Here comes Soki.
Oh, sick focus fire on those Banelings immediately out of those bunkers. There's still a lot of roaches and Banelings though.
Oh man, everything hinges on this. Banelings waddle forward and do kill.
I would give the edge to Bomber. I would hope so. It would be really dumb to work again, I feel.
Banelings are not responding to it. A drop in the back of the natural. Bombers everywhere. Good game. Startail Bomber has just defeated Soki with a score of 3-1.
Once again, give a big round of applause to Bomber, the confident Terran here at BlizzCon 2013.
Ladies and gentlemen, ranked number 8 in the world and the WCS Season 2 champion, Startail Bomber! Your commentary team for this fantastic semi-final, please make some noise for Bitterdam!
Thank you so much, Paul, and welcome to the desk. I am Mr. Bitter, joined as always by Roti, and we are getting ready to hop into our first semi-final of the day. BlizzCon has been amazing so far, and Kevin, these next 4 players promised not to disappoint.
Definitely not. I'm super stoked for our upcoming semi-final. Bomber versus SOS. I think it's going to be a great PvT series. Seen a couple of really good PvT games already this tournament as well. Yesterday with Deer versus Tasia. Deer doing a couple of crazy builds, and I wonder if we might see something remotely similar from SOS. But I must say, Ben, above all, I agreed so much with what the guys said at the analyst desk. That's of course why they are the analysts, but I think they broke it down so well. They really described SOS's playstyle, you know, perfectly. There's no better way to describe it than he is indeed a player that loves to open up with storms, which can definitely be very good against Bomber, who's a player that likes to pull SCVs.
I was a little surprised at how many people selected Bomber to win this series with that in mind, because it does seem on paper that SOS's style does do well against the style that we know Bomber for. Here are the vetoes. Bomber immediately X's out Whirlwind. SOS is going to remove Polar Knight. No surprise there in either of those two vetoes.
Polar Knight is a pretty tough map for Protoss. Certainly when it gets up to 3 bases, also a map where just defending 2 bases can be pretty hard as well. Figuring out what's going to be our first map, which is going to be Yangzhou. That's an interesting map.
Yeah, Yangzhou is not, I would say it's not a map that we often see as a first pick. A lot of these players have it as one of their least played maps in the entire tournament, but it is going to be coming out first here. Akalon Waste, one of the most common maps in the map pool, will be the second pick. No surprise there. We've seen some of the most standard and frankly some of the most epic games of the entire WCS on that map.
I do think it's so cool that SOS has made it so far already. Like, I think if you would have had this tournament with this lineup 4, 5, 6 months ago, I think a lot of people would have predicted SOS to go very far. Because back then, you know, he was the cornerstone of Wooding Stars together with Sorky, but both of them were performing so extremely well in Pro League. And you know, whether you were living in Europe or Korea or USA, you had to stay up very late to watch these guys play. But if you made a lot of long nights and you watched SOS play, then you would have seen that he was an absolutely fantastic Protoss player, and obviously still is. But he indeed perhaps lost his cutting edge a little bit, had to kind of, you know, fine-tune his style, as he does have a very unique style. It's just SOS plays like SOS, and other people look at SOS, and that's pretty much what it is. He doesn't look at other players and tries to do what they do. He has his own thing, but I do think that he fine-tuned his style a lot more. And he's been looking pretty good so far this tournament, and that's exactly what I expected from him.
Yeah, it was a bold prediction when you said you thought he would make it all the way to the finals and win BlizzCon. Now here he is in the semifinals up against our Season 2 WCS champion Startail Bomber. Both of these players have looked dominant in the games they've played so far.
And with Bomber, I think why, to fall back to what you earlier mentioned as well, but I think why a lot of people still think Bomber is going to win this series, despite that SOS's playstyle might be good on paper against what Bomber likes to do, it is mostly because Bomber is just one of those players where if he's on a roll, he's just almost unstoppable. He just rolls across the map and he wins. He pulls SCVs. No matter how he does it, if he has a small window of opportunity, he just wins. And that's kind of like the feeling that we had in Season 2 when Bomber was just absolutely, you know, no one was going to be able to stop him. And even in the finals, he won 4-0 back then. If this guy is on the tier, Ben, it's hard to stop him.
I think it's almost funny that it's mentioned here that he often struggles from inconsistency. He's looked anything but inconsistent so far at BlizzCon. The games that Bomber has won have been so one-sided.
Yeah, but it's, of course I agree with you, but it's still just a weekend. Like, after all, he won WCS Season 2 Global Finals, and everyone was like, oh my god, Bomber, how long is he going to stay on top? Well, the next season I think he lost in the round of 32 already. And of course WCS Korea is so extremely hard, and it's very tough to be consistent. I mean, Bomber has his ups and downs, but his ups are very, very high.
His ups are possibly best in the world highs. Of course, SOS is no stranger to that level of play. He's going to be a difficult opponent here. We're just going to take a quick look at his win rates. His versus Terran matchup is not his best, but still with a near 60% win rate, it's very respectable.
Yep, that's above all because he was one of the first players to really rely on Zealots and Archons for such a long time, and especially like against Zerg, he just almost never makes Colossus, but even against Terran, it's most of the time Zealots, Archons. He had a couple of crazy timing pushes with +2 armor, Guardian Shield. It was so hard for Marines to pick up the Zealots. Was doing really well with it, but then people started figuring it out, making a couple of cool sim cities and be like, hey, if you are going to try to win on 2 bases, I'm just going to make sure I won't die on 2 bases. So I guess he's been struggling a little lately, but I think he's an absolutely amazing player. I had so much fun watching SOS play a lot of games in Pro League. He was nothing but amazing, and I also know that a lot of the top 4 in Protoss players always get their inspiration off SOS, perhaps even more of SOS than a player like Parting, for instance.
The single detail about SOS that has struck me most this weekend is the incredible calm and poise that he seems to bring into the booth. This man just shows no emotion in his gameplay. He's stoic, I guess, is the only way I know to describe him.
And the sickest thing as well, while we're taking a look at Yangsu, that's our first map, of course, the two-player map, is when SOS was playing against Hero earlier this tournament. He was up 2-0, and then the third map, things were not really going his way. He was down at like 15 to 20 supply, and he just lost the base, and he just left.
Yeah.
And he didn't care at all. It was really like he was just saying like, you know, I'll win the next one.
Playing from behind is an inconvenience. Let's go ahead and hop into game number 4 so I can just end this series.
And that's really how it felt, and that's exactly what he did. He looked very solid, and you know, we were not able to watch all the games against Polpom. What I did see is just, I love this guy, man. I think he's an amazing Protoss player, one of my favorites for sure.
Certainly appears to be very confident this weekend, and that is showing in his gameplay and in his games. Our players are ready to go on Yangsu. The countdown has just begun. Day 2 of BlizzCon is about to happen, Kev.
There's no better feeling than entering a series, Ben, or a semi-final in such a big tournament like this, on the biggest stage, and you just don't really know which way it's going to go. You know, on paper you might say SOS, but still Bomber is the favorite for the majority of the people. I'm super excited, and you know, I'm just ready for some good StarCraft.
As we're hopping into game, I want to remind, or I guess announce to everyone watching online, that if you would like to watch the first-person point-of-view streams from either of these players, you can go check it out on the eSports Plus stream. You can see the first-person view for Bomber and SOS.
That's so sick, actually. If I wouldn't have 2 monitors at home, then I'd get one immediately, because there's no better way to learn StarCraft than watching these players play first-person.
Absolutely, Kev. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of Yangsu, the red Terran player, Starktails Bomber. And his opponent in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, the blue Protoss player from the Woongjin Stars, SOS.
What I also really like is what our analysts were talking about, that Bomber Ben is a player that's not afraid to switch it up. Yes, he has those ruthless timings attacks where he just goes and wins the game, pulls SFVs, but he's also not afraid to do a couple of things a little different, make an extra Rex here and there, just run a bunch of Stim Marines across the map. This guy is almost capable of anything, so SOS is going to have to scout very, very thorough throughout the entire series. Because if Bomber sees a window of opportunity to attack, he is going to attack, he's going to go all out, and he's just going to go in with the mindset, I either win right now or I die.
Either win right now or we move on to the next map where I'll try it again.
Also known as YOLO.
Oh man, that's the sudden realization that Johan Merlo did not choose Bomber, the YOLO Terran. Doesn't feel right. Gas openings for both of these players, probably going to be a Reaper for Bomber. Something that we've seen a lot from him this weekend already.
Yeah, I'm expecting a Reaper into a command center. Anything else would already be a little bit surprising. Of course, quick factory builds are not necessarily bad. They can be good, but it's also something that you have to deal damage to it. And SOS is not a super greedy Protoss early on, I feel. Of course, you know, he's going to try to cut a few corners here and there, but he's not the Protoss player that goes up to 3 bases or like barely has any idea of what's going on and whatnot. So I think Bomber shouldn't try to go too crazy and just a Reaper into a fast expand. Makes a lot of sense.
Pretty meticulous building placement already from SOS. That pylon that we were just looking at the top of his base is going to be able to spot Reapers as they hop up and down, if that is in fact what happens. It just gives him that much more early warning to the incoming Reaper, allowing him to try to shut it down as quickly as possible. Looking like we're going to see pretty fast. Oh, Bomber already getting cheeky. Starts the engineering bay in the natural expansion of SOS. And that's just going to slow down his expansion ever so slightly. Fortunate for SOS, he does have that Zealot building.
Yep, and he's actually not even continuing building the engineering bay, which I'm surprised by a little bit. Of course, the probe was there harassing the SUV, but I still felt he could have done some additional HP down. Oh, the SUV! Well, look at the probe. The probe's like, I'm fast. Not fast enough.
Not today, little probe. Here comes that Reaper as SOS and Bomber both plant their expansions. Bomber notably puts his command center on the low ground, so feeling confident that he has no reason to worry.
Close eye to see if SOS is going to produce a Stalker or not, because if he chronos out this Stalker and Bomber is careless with his first bunker, he might be in a little bit of early trouble already, because there's a Zealot as well. 3 Rex opening there for Bomber. Bomber is playing this pretty damn safe, man. Most of the time just like a second Rex would be enough. Then you see a tech lab and they start researching either Steam or Combat Shield, and then eventually, you know, to try to get the medevacts out as soon as possible. What Bomber is going to do here, he's going to have a lot of units early on, which, you know, can be for defensive purposes, but SOS not really a player that you have to worry about like some crazy 3-gate aggression or whatnot. Maybe in the later stage of the game, like the early mid-game, when maybe there's charge or a +2 or a +1 armor. But
Whoa, Proxy Stargate going down for SOS. That's not something that, well, should we be surprised that SOS is known to mix it up, but I would not have expected that here on Yonsu.
Oh, and also the way that it went so far, like he went into a fast spin, everything looks so natural, so normal, and then suddenly there's a Proxy Stargate on the other side of the map.
This Reaper,
oh my God.
Unbelievable star sense from Bomber. As long as this Reaper doesn't change course, he's gonna spot it. There it is.
That's very, very good news for Bomber. As you can see, 3 Marines are being produced at a time, 4 even, because he has 1 reactor as well, almost forgot about it. Starts researching Stim as well. Combat Shield can be better to defend like certain gateway attacks, but Stim is definitely better to pick off Stargate units.
The Reaper even running right past the probe will turn around and get rid of him. So this is just excellent early game scouting from Bomber, spotting SOS's intentions and what will he do about it. There is an Oracle on the way. We see 4 Marines being produced at a time, Stims on the way.
Now this is obviously a very good start for Bomber, but I don't think it's man overboard yet for SOS. These amazing proto players, they keep surprising me whenever I feel like, oh, this is a really big commitment, then they just kind of transition out of it while barely losing anything, just getting that Oracle there, because that Oracle does of course pose a threat that Bomber has to worry about. SOS not the player to just sacrifice his Oracle. Well, he gets a free kill there on the Reaper, which is very nice.
Yep, nice catch there, SOS getting that Reaper out of there. Here's that first Oracle that we were talking about. There's already a lot of Marines waiting. You gotta be careful, SOS. You've taken way too much damage, and down goes the Oracle. First blood. Well, it was technically the Reaper, but we're gonna call it that Oracle kill. Great play there from Bomber. That's a huge advantage to the Terran player early on Yonsu.
That's the complete opposite of what I just said 10 seconds ago, where I did not think that SOS would ever like sacrifice that Oracle. Obviously he didn't meant to, he got very unlucky there with the way he rallied it, but also a little careless, perhaps getting a little nervous after all.
Marine's going to continue to give chase here on these Stalkers, does not want to have to deal with the early Stalker pressure. Good micro from SOS, and great micro from Bomber.
Sides, yeah. Very nice the way that he pulled back that 1 Marine, messing up the movement from the Stalks a little bit, taking some additional damage. Charge already being researched, +1 armor as well. 4 additional gates going down, because SOS is a little worried now, Ben. He's also dropping the Templar Archives, but you know, proxying a Stargate, opening up an Oracle and not dealing damage is kind of bad, but as long as you have that Oracle around, you can maybe drop a Revelation, you can at least still be like, hey, you're gonna have to keep a few units at home, but doing absolutely nothing with it, that basically gives Bomber a free pass, like, hey, I might be able to do something as soon as Stim and maybe Combat Shield.
I mean, how confident does that have to make Bomber feel? It might even bait him to pull those SCVs. Crazy
oh my god, double Templar Archives? No way! That's a massive mistake, it's such an expensive building already. SOS is a little shaky, Ben.
Yeah, perhaps some of the nerves showing through. Here comes that first push from Bomber. There's not a single medevac out on the map, but man, there's a lot of Marines and Marauders. 26 Marines out against only 2 Stalkers, 4 Zealots, and a couple of Sentries. Oh, this is going to be very dicey for SOS.
Yeah, he's going to have to drop some couple of good force fields and definitely needs photon overcharge as well. He still did not cancel the Templar Archives. That's why he has so few units. This is a big investment. This is a really big mistake. Perhaps in the long run, you know, he can lose one of them to a drop and he will still have the other one. But he's going to have to be careful. He's going to need a photon overcharge, that's for sure. We can see it going down immediately.
Oh, and Bomber's going to stim right in, and he's not backing off. He wants to do some damage, and he's going to focus on the Nexus. Nexus down below half health. All the shields are gone. Bomber's going to continue to focus, and the Nexus will fall.
A couple of these Marines are still alive as well. Archon trying to get in range. That's a great wiping by SOS. Trapping those Marines. Losing the Nexus hurts a lot, but it wasn't for free though. That bomb has sacrificed a lot of units over there.
Yes, sir. And SOS does walk away from that with an army supply lead. 27 army supply to 14. So Bomber has got to be a little bit careful. We do see him throwing down 3 bunkers immediately, realizing that he has overextended just ever so slightly, and now he's going to have to prepare for the counterattack. It does not, however, look like SOS is going to commit to that counterattack. Look at how badly his income has been damaged as a result of that. Bomber doubling the income.
And above all, the 3rd orbital is about to finish up as well. It's already, the command center already finished up and he's morphing it into an orbital now. So Bomber's economy is just going to be absolutely ridiculous, and SOS is definitely going to fight an uphill battle for a little while. Maybe this Oracle can even things up slightly, because I'm not sure if Bomber has any missile turrets in the middle line. I don't think he has. Well, that's completely exposed, so maybe this Oracle can get some work done. 5, 6, 7 SCV kills would be nice, but still. I still think it was worth it for Bomber though. Yes, he lost a lot of Marines over there, but a Nexus is a Nexus. And in this phase of the game, that's very important.
4 SCVs now killed thus far. SOS may get a couple
that's
more.
very nice micro so far by SOS, man. Picking up 6, 7 SCVs, and the Oracle is still alive.
Oh, and it will get away with just 6 hit points, 6 total kills on that Oracle, so some economic damage dealt there to Bomber, but obviously he is still in a fine position with 3 orbitals, 54 SCVs, and plenty of room to spare.
Third base going down now for SOS. That's definitely a little ballsy. He does have 1-1 upgrades. I think Bomber is just on 1-0. We can see 2-1 is on the way for him. SOS also researching +2 armor immediately. So he's going to have these Chartles, he's going to have the Archons that he loves so much, and of course he's going to be able to drop some Storms as well. But if Bomber's army is just way, way, way bigger, he can definitely eat a couple of those Storms and still micro his way out of it. And I'm afraid that's probably what's going to happen. Bomber is just going to attack when his army supply is like 30 to 35 supply more than the one of SOS.
Well, that moment is basically coming up. It's 50 army supply to 65 army supply, and Bomber is moving out on the map. The one thing everyone's waiting to see is whether or not those SCVs are going to get pulled. It doesn't look like now's the time. A little bit of Zealot harass up at that third base. Of course, Bomber has no
armies
trouble
might clash in the middle of the map. There is an Archon, a couple of Zealots over here, High Templar trying to get a
Storm's
storm
done,
up.
and Bomber's got to be very careful of that. 133 Terran supply to 120.
4 medevacs heading into the main base. SOS does not have a single observer out on the map. That pilot might spot it though. It's close. I guess not enough vision.
So far, SOS appears to have no idea.
That probe! What a hero probe!
Tries to be the hero, but his army's so far out of position. Kev's got to come all the way up through the natural. There is a single High Templar here, but the medevacs are going to unload right on top of him. Storm goes down on 3 Marines. And a cannon trying to save the day, but Photon overcharge. Reinforcing Zealots trying to come back. Nexus is taking, oh my God, it's gonna go down. Nexus will fall, and once again, Bomber snipes off an SOS expansion.
And he gets all 4 medevacs out. That's the most important thing. He barely lost anything there. Small Marine hit squad in the natural did a little bit of damage. The third base is taking some fire as ball. Bomber just has way more units because he was able to kill the Nexus early on. He's keeping those medevacs on the left side of the map as well. As soon as SOS is going to send his forces to the right side to defend, Bomber is going to...
Oh, here comes Bomber into the third base. Eats a big storm. He's not going to be able to stem with that army. As a result, that means he's not going to really be able to do much damage here. Nice defense here from SOS. Picks off both medevacs.
First-person view here by Bomber.
Still, in the main base, Bomber just refuses to relent. He's probably going to cancel this Nexus once again. SOS will try to strike back in the third base of Bomber. He's got a couple of Zealots there that are doing some good damage.
That's very nice, actually. I don't think Bomber is taking care of that, as Bomber is just dropping all over the place, so he's definitely looking on this side of the map. One more storm will land on most of these Marines. SOS is doing a fantastic job with the little units that he has to somehow even up King's Thing, and these 2 Zealots.
These Zealots have just ravaged the third base. 16 workers in total have died. Bomber's starting to maybe overextend a little bit. Maybe he's a little too spread out. And SOS, in spite of all the damage that he's taken, is beginning to step. Man, the Storms have just been excellent, and Bomber is not microing out of them at all. Still, SOS is behind 110 supply to about 140.
Couple of Zealots being wiped in. Photon overcharge going down immediately once more. Will secure the main base for SOS for now. He's still down a little bit in economy, obviously, but these 2 Zealots, man, they definitely did some work on the top side of the map.
Oh, they really did, Kev. It's 48 probes to 49 SCVs on the income tab.
Bomber's production is just so much better than one of SOS, though. SOS has never really had a moment of peace where he was able to macro up, get everything in order, get his upgrades going, get his army in the correct position, get a couple of observers here and there. He is just chasing behind Bomber. Bomber is completely dictating the pace of this game, and his army is way out of control right now because he's just been whining way. Oh, that's unlucky as well. Missed third sniping the Oracle. Pretty big deal.
More storms going down for SOS as Bomber's coming forward with an attempt at a game-ending push. Great storms, but SOS taps out. Good game. Star-Tail Bomber takes game number 1, and man, as scrappy as SOS looked, Bomber just looked better there. It all kind of started with that first Nexus snipe, though, and I think it's safe to say that it's hard to beat Bomber when you're behind.
I think it even goes back before that, Ben. First of all, the first Oracle flying into Marines like that, I don't know how SOS cannot pay attention to his Oracle, because that's the most important thing that will go on in that phase of the game. I'm sure that he expected the Marines to send in the mineral line, but Bomber already was ahead of the fact that he's probably going to try to do something more natural and transfer those Marines, and he just like parked those Marines below the Oracle. That's a big mistake for SOS. Then the second big mistake was the second Templar Archives. If you open up this style, where you're going to go with an upgrade, where you're going to research charge and storm, you have very, very few units, so every single resource that you have is extremely important. Making a second Templar Archives while opening up with a proxy Stargate that didn't work, then you're so far behind already, and it's an uphill battle that's very hard to fight.
Game 2 is going to be happening on Akalon Wastes. Our players appear to be just about ready, so we'll be firing this one up momentarily. Right now, Bomber leads 1-0 in this best-of-5 series. SOS, of course, is going to want to bounce back on Akalon, because going down 0-2 against Bomber is not a good position to be in.
Nope, because then Bomber can just go full crazy mode and do whatever the hell he wants to win either game number 3, 4, or 5. Even though I don't think there's a man overboard yet, I don't think SOS has to feel about this game like, wow, I played my absolute best and I just got crushed. I think it's safe to say that it was the absolute opposite. Obviously, he might feel some frustration here and there, like, wow, I can play so much better than this. But that's also something that's easier to accept than, wow, I just got really outplayed. Because I think SOS defeated himself much more than that Bomber defeated SOS.
Game 2 is live on Akalon Waste, Kev. Our two players looking both very focused. SOS still not showing much emotion. Bomber looking very intense.
Bomber always looks intense. The Bomber looks so cool.
And here we go, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Akalon Waste, leading 1-0. The Red Terran player, Startails Bomber. And his opponent in the top left-hand corner of the map, the Blue Protoss player, currently trailing 0-1, SOS. Great crowd here at BlizzCon. It's been a fantastic event. Crowd loves to cheer when people say crowd, so thanks for that, guys.
You find the new magic word, man?
Maybe I have. Oh, man. Bomber leading 1-0, Kev. What is he going to do here on Akalon Waste? I think he's probably going to keep it pretty standard. Rack's going down already. He went with the Reaper opening last time. I don't know why he would feel the need to change it up.
Yeah, I think just more of the same. It's a solid opening. I am curious to see if it's going to be 2 or 3 Rexes once more. And if it's just a 3-Rex opening and it's not the way that, or like the game won't play out the same way as it did last time, what he's going to do with it, if he's going to try to hit some sort of an unorthodox timing with just a bunch of Marines and Stim, which can work against these kind of, you know, SOS's build is not necessarily greedy, but he does have very, very few units because, you know, he's investing into a later stage of the game where he wants to have charge and he slightly be ahead in upgrades and a couple of Archons here and there, which are all expensive units and hard to get off just 1 or 2 bases.
Now, I think it's safe to say that SOS looked a little bit rocky in the beginning of Game 1. Near the end of Game 1, it looked like he'd buttoned it up, was starting to play as fast as we know he can and respond as quickly as we know he can and just deal with what Bomber was throwing at him. Unfortunately, he was a bit too far behind and had to tap out there.
Yeah, I was actually impressed with how he was hanging in there in a certain phase of the game, man, because I was just like, okay, this is the moment where, you know, there's one side of the map where he just barely doesn't have enough units and he's going to lose so many probes, but he was actually doing a pretty damn good job, and in a certain moment they were only, you know, it was only a 15 supply difference or something between Bomber and SOS's supply, and I was like, wow, SOS, how are you doing this? You're just killing units left and right without losing too many probes. But yeah, I mean, Bomber was on an almost untouched 3-base economy other than that 1 Zealot, or those 2 Zealots slicing up a few SCVs. So Bomber just had a massive production, and reinforcements keep making their way across the map, and it was just an unfair fight for SOS. But I must say I was pretty damn impressed with the way that he was handling the first initial drops, because he had so few units to work with. He definitely put him in the right place.
Pretty fast Nexus coming out of SOS, dropping it before a single Stalker or Zealot or even Mothership Core, which means that this Reaper is going to be able to get a pretty strong uncontested scout if he wants to. He's going to just back off after seeing the Nexus, though. Live to scout another day.
Like, let's see if I can find another one of those proxy Stargates, because that's what really grew for me last time.
Yeah, seriously. Command center's down on the low ground for Bomber. Just the one more barracks going up this time?
Yeah, that's a little more standard, and that's like the, you know, the most convenient way and safe way, or not necessarily the most safe way, but just the most standard way to play TVP. So I think we're going to see a very straight up Bomber here. He's just going to try to get Medevacts out ASAP and then try to find an opening in SOS's defenses, which is possible with the style that SOS plays, because he is kind of neglecting the Robo for quite a while. I find it extremely difficult to defend against drops without a Robo. And once more, we see a Stargate going down. Surprising openings over here by SOS, because I kind of just thought he would just go straight into Twilight. Doing the Stargate once or twice, you know, that's not a super well. But 2 times on the road, that's a little bit surprising.
Yeah, I think, man, I'm not sure what to make of that. I'm guessing we'll see another Oracle.
Yeah, maybe one Oracle and then later maybe 2 or 3 Phoenixes just to chase down a couple of drops here and there. Bomber is playing with fire, by the way. The fact that he didn't have a bunker over here yet. He's so lucky that the Mothership Core is not here, or a second Stalker, which he was actually not aware of at all. And SOS is like, man, I know I should have chrono boosted out my second Stalker and just run across the map and try to win. because that would be very good for me.
Marines are going to chase this Stalker, but with good micro, SOS should be able to kite for days. Bunker will start immediately, and well, SOS is just going to back off. There's that Oracle we were talking about.
Yeah, because he doesn't have the Mothership Core with him, he doesn't have high ground vision, so he can't stick around. If he would have the Mothership Core there and he would have another Stalker, he could indeed just kite those 4 or 5 Marines to death pretty easily. Of course, Bomber would eventually stabilize, but it would definitely be a big nuisance to deal with.
Bomber already splitting units up, knows that he needs to be safe against the possibility of this Oracle, even if he hasn't necessarily scouted it. Reaper will be sacrificed into the natural, and he's just not going to see much, Kev. A couple of Stalkers, a couple of probes. Bomber's still pretty much in the dark.
Might see his scan go down soon, but so far Bomber has a pretty damn good idea, I think, what he's playing against, because he's keeping so many units in the main base. I never really had SOS in my mind as a player that, like, you have to think of Stargate all the time. He's definitely capable of opening with a Stargate and then transitioning into the style that we know him for and we know that he loves, which is of course the charge lots, the Archons, and good upgrades. Missile turret already going down in the front as well, just in case he has to do, you know, a little bit against Stargates in the front, or maybe a Dark Templar rush.
Yeah, he's just he's covering all of his bases. He doesn't want to spin that scan, I guess. Oracle will go ahead and float into the main.
That was so odd, but there are plenty of Marines over here, so.
Oh, this is one very unlucky Marine. He's going to get picked off immediately. But for now, Oracle unable to do any damage to the economy of Bomber. It's going to have to float away. It'll continue to search for new openings, but...
And that's still not that good. I definitely think that SOS hope to do a little bit more. But above all, keeping this Oracle alive is so important because it poses a threat to Bomber that he has to worry about all the time. He has to throw down additional turrets. And above all, you know, later on you can really use it in so many useful ways as well. Revelation is an excellent way of dealing with some drops and staying alive in the most difficult phase of the game where you just don't really know where the drops are coming from because you don't have many observers out on the map.
This time he does find an SCV, but that's probably all he's going to get, as Bomber does still have Marines in good places. Extra barracks going down for Bomber. His first medevacs should be on the way shortly here, Kev. As we just take a quick glance at the economies of these two players, and we can see that it's 47 probes to 39 SCVs.
SOS has definitely been chrono boosting out probes quite a bit, because this is quite a healthy and reasonable lead. Templar Archives is about to finish off. He's going to research Storm almost immediately, most likely. He's going to hallucinate the Phoenix over here as well. You can see, well, he wants to be extremely careful with the Oracle. So it's much better to just send in hallucinated units and dance around with your real Oracle all the time. And if he flies it into something it shouldn't be, that could be a really big loss.
What has been this Oracle just hasn't gotten anything done. It's killed a couple of Marines and a single SCV.
The fact that it's there is still not bad. Like so far, as I said multiple times already, like it forces Bomber to worry about it. Bomber is going to have to worry about it all the time. And above all, as soon as Bomber wants to start moving out, Revelation can go down on the map. Actually, a couple of Marines stimmed to the middle of the map and picked off the Oracle once more. Now this is a massive pickoff for Bomber. And now SOS is making it very hard on himself once again.
He's now lost all of his vision. He can continue to hallucinate Phoenixes and check with those, but for all intents and purposes.
Sick play by Bomber though, just having a couple of Marines on the ramp, and as soon as Stim finished up, he just stimmed forward and was able to pick up that Oracle. Now 48 army supplies moving out against 36. This is a difficult phase in the game for SOS to survive. He is playing without a robotics facility. He has no vision on any of the airspace. I have no idea how he's going to defend against all the drops.
Going to have to be excellent use of Storm. Actually, SOS is going to walk down his ramp to meet Bomber. Here he sees the army, and of course he'll immediately turn back around, does not want to contend with this Bioforce. In open space, a good first Storm, a good second Storm from SOS. That's going to push Bomber back for now. But with Medivacs overhead, all he has to do is heal up and be content to know that there's only a single Storm left behind this.
Additional Nexus going down for SOS, and we just saw him dropping the robotics facility as well. Those were indeed pretty juicy storms, but I wouldn't have minded to maybe see like a double feedback on two of those Medivacs, so it makes it a lot harder for Bomber to drop from that point on, or even just heal up that army.
Zealot count is pretty high right now for SOS. He's got 12 Zealots out with charge.
Still needs to photon overcharge to deal with his army though, or maybe a couple of excellent force fields. Guardian Shield will go down, he will zone out a couple of these bio units.
But he's not going to get any kills as the positioning of Bomber's army is too good for these Zealots to engage. There's a good Storm all over the Marines. And a second good Storm's going to pick up a couple of Marine kills. SOS is hanging in there, but Bomber relentless with these pokes. Marines and Marauders just dancing forward, doing as much damage as they can before backing off. Oh, another good Storm. Third base has completed for SOS.
But one High Templar did get picked off, and it had a lot of energy, so this is still going to be a little rough for SOS, but he does, of course, have photon overcharge if he really needs it, or maybe a time warp. That's another great Storm landing on top of many of those Marines.
Yeah, SOS has been storming brilliantly in both games 1 and 2.
a bit surprised that they're so even, like supply-wise, that Bomber just has a small advantage. I don't feel that Bomber has been throwing away too many units. And SOS, despite that Stargate opening, one more High Templar gets picked up over here. That's a good play by Bomber. Those are really important pickups.
Archon might also go down, drops very low.
Close.
And it's all about the Zealots and the Templar right now. SOS knowing that he needs to land good storms. He knows he can't afford to lose any more High Templar.
Bomber is doing a fantastic job microing this so far. This is insane. He's going to try to snipe out additional High Templars. Doesn't really get one, though.
A couple of whiff storms this time, and Bomber's position improving ever so slightly. He's going to continue trying to find openings. Hasn't tried dropping yet.
There are 10 medevacs out on the map right now, so there is so much healing normally in this army, even though we can see most of those medevacs are extremely low on energy. But still, a couple of storms are not going to be good enough. He needs to land storms to actually finish off the Marines, because just damaging them against 10 medevacs, that's not going to cut it.
Here comes Bomber's third base. There's a Zealot there trying to delay that inevitability, but
first drop going out as well, Ben, on the right top side of the map. This could be an extremely important. The first observers are in production. He does have High Templar there with a lot of energy. A couple of feedback probably not that good, as they won't have that much energy. SOS knows he's going to storm all 4 medevacs.
And Bomber is going to boost into the main base. He's going to drop right on top of warping in Zealots. Also pushing into the third base is Bomber. A good storm from SOS. He immediately pulls his probes, and this drop has been beautifully dealt with. Bomber trying to micro and make the most of it. But his army in the third base has been cleaned up. This drop in the main is sticking around for a little while longer, though. Probes starting to fall now. Photon Overcharge being forced.
I felt Photon Overcharge was a little late to this party. He lost a lot of additional probes that he really didn't have to lose. And a couple of those Zealots were not able to finish off the units, which they would have been if they actually had Photon Overcharge assisting them. Now we can see that this drop will get cleaned up eventually, but not before. It definitely paid for itself.
Yeah, grand total of 12 probes dying. SOS now out on the maps, found some medevacs in transit.
But the Nexus is running pretty damn low on HP.
But one Marauder is not going to be enough to take it down. Bomber might come back for a second visit, though, Kev. Colossus transition is on the way for SOS. Thermal Lance in the first of his Colossi are in production.
I must say I'm starting to like the upgrades for Bomber. It's going to be 2-2 against 0-2 soon. Of course, the +2 armor is nice for SOS, but a couple of attack upgrades would be nice as well. Then again, he will have Storm and Colossus at the same time, just to fight against pure bio army. So upgrades are not the most important thing in the world for him, at least the attacking upgrades. As long as he has units to just survive and defend those Colossus and is able to land a couple of Storms, he should be in pretty damn good shape.
His Zealot Harass is not going to do too much damage. Bomber is just in position to deal with it this time. And his drop making its way around the top half of the map is a huge one. There's a lot of Zealots in the main base, but that Nexus is so low, Kev, that
I don't know. I don't think Bomber should go for this because there's not much else going on the map, so it's not very likely that this drop is going to deal a crazy amount of damage. There are a couple of High Templars there. There's Photon Overcharge as well. He is scanning, so he's even going to give it away. Yep. Oh, it's so smart to put those 2 medevacs in front, because I think he was hoping that he would feedback them, and those are the empty medevacs. That's a sick play by Bomber.
Oh, but there will be feedbacks in the third base where Bomber has decided to unload. No medevacs falling. A Colossus a little bit too exposed is going to take a lot of damage, but does not fall. Good control from SOS, and Bomber's got no choice but to evacuate at the same time. Pushing into the natural Stalkers, and Colossi are in position, though, and Bomber cannot find an opening.
Time is ticking, man. Now the additional starport is going down. +1 air weapons being researched as well. This is the point in the game where Bomber said, all right, I'm not going to win this game with just Marines and Marauders, no matter how good my drop control is, as I'm going to try to drop once more. And he's able to pick off a few probes. Wow, that's a great storm.
Beautiful defense. Everything goes down. Archon picks up the final shot on the medevac, and Bomber will back off completely. 185 Terran supply against 160 Protoss supply. Harvesters 66 to 55, so the income honestly is pretty even at this point in the game. Also even good storm, and great feedbacks on the medevacs. Bomber is going to be forced to turn around once again. Oh man, that is a lot of Marines, Kevin, and they are going to press forward.
Colossus, he can't really run into this army. Those Colossus are not going to die. There are barely any Vikings. Additional High Templars coming in as well. That was so good for SOS. He killed so many of those medevacs.
Oh man, and the Marines are going to continue to be roasted. Archons and Colossi just ripping through the army of Bomber.
But Bomber picked off 2 High Templars there with an insane amount of energy. That was very good. I'm not sure if SOS has any additional High Templars. Yes, he has a couple of defensive ones. Don't have have as much Storm as the ones that he just lost, though. But still, this is going to be a very, very tough hold for Bomber.
Oh, he's behind in supply. Army supply is 113 to 110. Bomber may have 3-3 when they fight, and that could be invaluable. But how is he ever going to deal with the Colossi? There are only 4 Vikings out on the map. Scans to kill the Observer, but that's not going to happen. A good blink, and a couple of those Vikings do go down. Bomber stems and pushes forward. And SOS says, no, I'm not going to fight unless we're going to show good feedback again from that High Templar.
Man, SOS has played a fantastic game number 2 over here. Perhaps once more a little sloppy in the start, but the moment he started defending, it was perfect. Storms are going to land all over
storms
these Marines.
all over the bio. SOS is pushing Bomber all the way back into the third base. 4 storms go down, and Bomber's in a lot of trouble. Here's the SCV pull, but it's not going to matter. SOS is just destroying the army of Bomber. The last of his troops will go down. Good game. SOS ties it up at 1 each.
Wow, what a fantastic ending to game number 2. SOS dancing his army multiple times, and Bomber dropping the man of news as well, saying like, all right, I see what you did there. What a great game by SOS, man. I think it was once more. I don't understand that how these Protoss players are able to defend the drops so well while having barely any observers, and even he lost his Oracle early on. How they do it is beyond me. Of course, Photon Overcharge helps out a lot, but it is so hard to do it. To split up your units properly every single time, but SOS did it, man.
That's pretty ridiculous. SOS just knew when he was going to be dropped, and he had units in the right places and took a little bit of damage here and there, but mostly just dealt with it, and he did so in convincing fashion. Very nice play from SOS there on Akalon Waste. We're going to move on to Derelict Watcher. You know, at the start of the pre-show, Day 9 was like, you know, this is what I think is going to happen. Bomber's going to win game 1, and then SOS is going to take games 2 and 3 before Bomber closes it out 3-2. Maps 4 and 5. So far, Day 9's been spot on in his prediction.
Yeah, it was a very wise prediction. He's like, I don't even know what game number 1 is going to be or which map, but this is how it's going to go. It was a pretty picture to paint, and so far so good.
I think Derelict Watcher will be a much harder map though for SOS. Bomber,
Yes,
with the openness, is going to be able to engage much more freely.
And certainly because Bomber is a player as well that likes to stick on Marines and Marauders for quite a while, and SOS is working with so few units, and there's a lot of surface area in the main base where you can still drop. Even when Photon Overcharge is active, you can just dance outside of the range of Photon Overcharge because the main base is so big. So SOS is going to have to do things a little different. One more thing I really love from SOS though, Ben, is that he wasn't really too worried about those attack upgrades. Of course, attack upgrades are awesome, but he's just like, hey, if you refuse to make either Gulls or Vikings, I'm just going to stick on Colossus and High Templars, and as long as I have armor upgrades and my army survives, I am going to completely crush your army. That was great game sense by SOS.
Yep, very nice reactive play from SOS as we move on to game number 3. Derelict Watcher is the map, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, the WCS Season 2 champion, the Red Terran player, Startails Bomber. Bomber's opponent just look oh so convincing on Akalon Waste. He's the blue Protoss player in the top right-hand corner of the map from Woongjin Stars, SOS. A lot of people here watching the WCS Global Finals, semifinal number 1. Of course, coming up after this, Jaedong versus Maru. A lot of people in the house very excited for Jaedong.
Couldn't blame them, man. I get a little excited for Jaedong.
I cannot begin to explain what my body does when Jaedong plays StarCraft 2.
I am super curious to see how this game will play out. As you mentioned as well, Derelict, a much harder map to defend 3 bases than Akalon. There is so much area just between these 2 bases, and even like the turret has quite a bit of surface area where a Bomber could start dropping. So I really wonder if SOS is going to do something different, and is he going to go with the Stargate opening once more, because those Oracles, Ben, have not really been paying for themselves. In game number 1, it was just, you know, it was horrible. They did absolutely nothing. Game number 2, he was able to keep it around a little longer, but he still lost it in the face of the game where he would not want to lose that Oracle. And I'm just blown away, because when you watch these guys play, and we have full vision, so we can see the drops incoming, and then we see like, oh, the Protoss player has some units here and there. But if you are SOS and you have as little vision as he had, it is so extremely hard to always have units in the right place and always do the right thing. I'm just blown away by the game sense of these guys.
Yeah, great game sense, great positional play out of both players. I love how SOS has cannons around the periphery of his base, just giving him that extra layer of drop defense.
Yeah, it's super important, certainly when you just don't have that many units yet. He always has a couple of Zealots standing there as well, which I think is very cool. Because when the units gets dropped one by one, if the drop is not very big, those Zealots can kind of kill those units one by one before it goes out of control.
Reaper expand once more for Bomber. SOS once more. Proxy Stargate. Seriously, 3 games in a row?
So it seems, man.
This is just quickly becoming his standard in this matchup, at least for this semifinal.
It's so funny because I really don't feel that it's done so much for him in the first 2 games. Perhaps he's just waiting for that single game, man, where the Oracle flies in and kills 14 SCVs. And he's like, haha, all worth it.
I mean, both games have been close in spite of the fact that the Oracle never did any real damage. So I guess there's not a big reason for him to stop. Reaper's going to spot this probe, and
it's annoying for SOS because SOS would have loved to just drop that Nexus immediately. Losing this probe early on is going to delay his expand a little bit, and also, I mean, this is 1 free kill for the Reaper. The Reaper normally doesn't get a kill in PvT.
Bonus damage, Kev. He's going to skirt out. And what are the odds of him scouting that Stargate? I think it's quite low.
I think they're pretty high, actually, because Bomber just rallies this Reaper all around the map. Now Derelict is kind of a hard map to scout everything because it's such a big map. It's an insane. I think he's going to check for it. Bomber. Or he's going to go back to the natural. To see if the next
he would have hopped up the cliff if he was going to the 3rd base.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's still going to roll into the 3rd base after this.
He's the Nexus, and no, not today. Looks like he's going to go check that Zelnaga tower first. So far, Bomber's opening continues to be consistent. He's getting that first tech lab down. He's on 3 racks again, Kev.
That's pretty good to deal with these early Oracles. He's going to have plenty of Marines, both in the main and in the natural. This Oracle is pretty quick, though, this time. It's actually very quick. There are only 6 Marines out on the map. A couple of them are out of position. The Oracle, if it flies into the main, it will be able to do a little bit of damage. The Reaper is going to see it, though, and the Oracle is going to see the Marines.
It's a great spot by the Reaper, but the Oracle is going to be pretty uncontested in this main base. Here comes the lasers, and SCVs do get roasted. 2 down, it looks like, for now. And this poor Reaper also going to get blasted a little bit.
The Reaper is definitely a trooper. He's taking one for the team. The Oracle taking quite a bit of damage. Sick micro there, though, by SOS. Stunning stepping with those with the Oracle. That's pretty damn hard to do.
Bomber's also done a great job of keeping his SCVs alive, pulling them at just the right moment, and really minimizing the damage that he took. They lost 2 SCVs.
Yeah, a little bit of mining time loss. At least his Oracle has been more successful than in the previous games already. So I think SOS is feeling pretty good about it. It's a double forge opening as well, as shown to you guys by Funkadelic. Of course, big shout out to our French observer. Is it Funka or is it Infraser?
It's Funka, Kev.
I knew it. Funka's ahead of it.
I'm of the opinion now that Funka's the best observer in the world. He has surpassed Adebisi in observing greatness.
Double forge is interesting, though, because that means that we are going to see a different style from SOS, man. Maybe he's going to stay on 2 bases a little longer because he's like, you know what, it's going to be very hard for me to defend 3 bases in the way that I did on Eklan, or even take it at a remotely similar time as I did before. Oh man, if he's going to pull the Marines out of position with this fake Oracle and then fly into the natural line and pick up some SVs, that would be a sick play.
Here comes that fake Oracle. There are units in both positions, though, so Bomber should not he is going to react, but at the same time, oh man, no, he is going to get a couple of SCV kills. Cute plays here from SOS. Little things to make big differences. 3 more SCVs go down.
I just have the biggest smile on my face now, because those are the small things that make this game so beautiful. And this is 5 kills already, and the Oracle is still alive, so Revelation can be casted later on as well. That's a lot of buy units over here, though, for Bomber. Of course, 3 racks allow him to produce quite a few units. There are sentries, though, so with Force Fields, Guardian Shield, and Photon Overcharge, SOS should be fine. SOS should definitely not be thinking about a 3rd base, but considering the fact that he went double forge, I don't think he's thinking about taking a 3rd base anytime soon.
A very good hallucinated Oracle scout there, spots this army, so SOS knows not to be down his ramp. He's going to just back up and be in position for those defensive force fields and for that photon overcharge. This poor Reaper.
Man, he's been such a trooper, absorbing damage for his friends and stuff, then he gets sacrificed like this.
Bomber just trying to bait 1 more force field. He will, and actually he's going to get a lot of units caught as a result of that. There's the photon overcharge going down.
Marines trying to pick up the Mothership Core, but that won't happen. Photon overcharge will pick up these, a few of these Marines, not all of them. A lot of additional gates going down for SOS, though, so he's just waiting to transfer those gates, and then he will have a lot of units. Force is going to have to go down, but this is going to be tricky either way.
Bomber getting a little bit crazy here, stemming up the ramp. The sentries are all out of energy, and now Bomber's getting up into the main base.
Without force fields, without sentries now, is there photon overcharge in the main? I don't think there is.
Time Warp has to be casted. The probes are going to try to do some fighting of their own, but this is going to be a costly defense for SOS. Bomber somehow finding just the most opportune opening imaginable. Finally, these units are going to get surrounded, but not before a lot of probes fall. In total, 11 Harvesters killed by Bomber with that little attack.
Well, the supply count is very one-sided, 74 against 41, but SOS did just invest a lot in his production as he threw down so many gateways.
Oh my God, the army of SOS is 1 Zealot and 1 Sentry, Kev. Not only killing a bunch of probes, but also just basically completely dismembering the army of SOS.
And if you ask yourself why, we can just take another look at the production tab, because those are a couple of very expensive upgrades. +2 attack, +2 armor, charge, and Templar archives going down. SOS is playing this in a very greedy way, so even though the supply count is heavily in favor of Bomber, it's a little deceiving. Losing the Mothership Core, however, I think is a really big loss. That's something that he didn't want to replace in this phase of the game. He is reproducing it now, but that's still 100 gas that he would have loved to spend on High Templars or Archons. And also, he's not going to have Photon Overcharge. Man, this is going to get a little #dicey.
This is scary already. 18 Marines, 8 Marauders. No medevacs on the map for Bomber. He is going to start producing his first 2 now. His 3rd command center is finishing up as well, and a Ghost Academy. Something that we haven't seen from Bomber all tournament, Kev.
I like it. I think it's a good phase or a good moment to start with. This is going to be a tough defense for SOS, man, because charge rolls are amazing, but +2 and +2 attack and +2 armor is not ready yet. 1 Archon is pretty cool to absorb some damage, but SOS needs more units and he needs them now.
Bomber looks like he just wants to deny a 3rd base as he checks to see if one's there, sees nothing, and backs off.
Finds the target, he's like...
So that's where the culprit came from, says Bomber.
I kind of wonder what happened to the Oracle. I guess the moment that SOS was defending, he also sent in the Oracle to pick off some additional SUVs. But
Bomber's got to be feeling so comfortable right now. The upgrades are excellent for SOS, though. First drop, making its way across the map right now, is going to fly over a canceled pylon.
It's a great scout, though.
Yeah.
25 mineral scout.
A 2-2 Protoss against just 1-0 Terran. Bomber's cut his upgrades pretty substantially this time.
But he is getting ghosts, and that is extremely important. If he's able to land EMPs and maybe to deny. I love how SOS is doing this as well. He's just like, go ahead, try to drop me. And Bomber is like, I'm not falling for that. Good feedback, does a little bit of damage on the medevac.
High-level play from both these guys. Bomber refusing to commit to a dangerous situation. SOS refusing to allow a dangerous situation to unfold. This probe is like a ninja, hiding pylons everywhere. Look at this Marine.
Hey, you never saw it coming, man.
This guy needs to be fired.
Talking about sleeping on the job, eh?
What? What a lazy Marine. No, either way. Bomber still with a strong presence in the center of the map. I think SOS's position, can we say that it's improving? His upgrades are great. This tech that he added is starting to... This pylon's still unscouted somehow.
He is dropping cannons now, Ben. 4 of them, which makes me really wonder. Is he going to actually move out and rely on those cannons to defend at home, or what is he so worried about? I guess he is thinking that he didn't play against 3 base, but I think he just scouted the 3rd base in the left bottom side of the map. So SOS knows what he's playing against. 1 Zealot already on a rampage with 5 kills.
Yep, Angry Zealot slices up some SCVs. Will be dealt with, but not before he chops them.
Army's going to clash in the middle of the map. There are ghosts over here, though.
EMPs are not going to go down at all. Where are the EMPs? Bomber's microing his army pretty well, but not using the ghost. Finally, he lands an EMP in the middle of those Zealots, but the Archon's doing so much damage, and SOS actually pushes Bomber back here.
SOS still on 46 probes, man. With all these defensive cannons, I'm starting to feel that SOS is going to try to win this game on 2 bases. He's just going to produce units from this point on. Both ghosts are going to fall immediately.
No!
Actually, he saved one of them. That's so
beautiful
sick.
pickup there from Bomber. That's 2 ghosts in that medevac, Kev, not just 1. And another skirmish unfolding here. Zealots pushing the Bio Army back further. Bomber needs to fall back to his reinforcements, who are all very low from being overstemmed. The Protoss army looks nigh unstoppable. Here's the SCV pool.
SCVs are pretty scary in the middle of the map, man.
That's a lot of SCVs too, Kev. I would say very nearly all of them SOS. This is not what I signed up for. These Archons are so scared as the SCVs will chase it. Oh no, it's a massacre! As SOS turns around.
SOS has a lot of defensive cannons, though. He has a Zealot run by as well. This is very annoying for Bomber to deal with. What is Bomber going to do, Ben? He has so many SUVs in the middle of the map. There is a 3rd base, but he can still cancel it if he really wants to.
Storm is finishing up. Ghost dropped on the High Templar, but they did not land the EMPs. Zealots charging forward. Bomber's being so careful. SOS wants to choose the perfect fight.
Oh, 7 seconds or something to Storm. It's so close, but these Zealots and Archons.
Great spread of units. Storm finishes up though, and that's going to shut down Bomber. Good game. SOS. Somehow, some way.
SOS is such a beast, man. getting all those upgrades of a single Zealot and Sentry and losing everything early on. It's just like, let me still just go ahead and research +2 attack, +2 armor, charge, and storm at the same time against someone that opened up with 3 Rexes and is obviously going to work with those bio units. That's a crazy call to make, but SOS, he did it.
I thought he was so dead after that first push up into the main base, killing probes and army alike. Let's go ahead and pass it over to our experts to hear their thoughts on that game in this series.
Thank you, sir. SOS has the 2-1 game lead here in semifinal #1 for the 2013 WCS Global Finals. And I can't wait to hear from you guys. A lot of banter up here between these folks. Yeah, a lot, wasn't there, Sean, about what was happening, what was going to happen. Even some friendly bets as well.
You know,
how did it go?
I want to throw out that before the series began, there was a prediction that was tossed out, a bold one, a poor one, but one that's incidentally turning out correct.
Yeah, well done, Todd.
So you see, Bomber wins game 1, SOS wins games 2 and 3, but Bomber's going to be closing it out in games 4 and 5 to pull it back 3-2.
And you're going to stick with that?
Of course.
Well, you've got to.
I've
now.
looked good
You've
3
got
games
to.
in a row, so you know
like
we got to keep drilling forward.
Apollo, based off of the things that we discussed during the pre-show and based off of the things that you guys said about SOS and Bomber, a 2-1 score, is this what you expected?
No.
Well,
okay, back to Todd.
Yeah, okay, I didn't realize we were interviewing Koreans up here. Apollo, let me try this one more time. Can I get a little bit more than a no?
I really thought that Bomber, I don't think that Bombers really looked at SOS in the way that I think he should have coming into this game. I think that he should have looked at him knowing exactly how he played against Port. Maybe he didn't have the opportunity to see how he played against Port, because he seems to be playing just a very generic Terran versus Protoss style. But I think if he concentrated on how SOS was approaching a playing Terran, I think it would have been a different start to this series.
I feel like game 2 is the perfect example of Bomber doing things a little bit off. We see the SOS is sort of pulled back. He's doing a lot of tricky moves, you know, like going for the Oracle, but then he's kind of forced to play defensively with the Zealot Storm into 3rd style. We see Bomber delaying his own 3rd, trying to be super aggressive with no Ghosts, no Vikings. It's kind of weird. He didn't set himself up for a transition in that 2nd game at all. And once SOS stabilized, it was a pretty straightforward game. And I think that Bomber is trying to end games too much in the mid game. Same thing happened in game 3. Got the Ghost really fast, try to end it right then and there. I mean, SOS was dead. Just expand and let your economy pull you ahead late game.
I think we are witnessing Bomber taking SOS into account, though. I feel like what he went into the series saying, as we're seeing it play out so far, is you like Oracles? Okay, I'm going to go in with a beefy pre-medevac stim timing and try to snipe off that Nexus. And I'll tell you what, it did work one time, but in the 2 games where it didn't work, we saw what had to have been near perfect defense from SOS. Like, he's like, all right, I got 3 Zealots, 2 Sentries. What are we looking at? Oh, it's like 100 frickin' Marines and 5 Marauders? I'm probably dead, you know, but he was able to dig it out a couple of times with Photon Overcharge, delaying force fields. That was really key. The decision to go up the ramp from Bomber on the game number 3 was a little bit tough, because the probe pole was able to actually close that with barely anything else behind that. I think almost if he would have backed away from the ramp and just kept massing up like we saw on Akalon Waste, that could have been a strong strategy there as well. But I think he is playing this out because this is what he thinks is the counter.
And Todd, I think we're going to take a look at a few moments of, I assume, game 3.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk a little bit about this series first. SOS, he played the way I predicted he was going to play with the opening Storm. He wanted to get Colossus later on. In this game, it was just going really bad for him. I mean, there was the attack over here that Bomber ended up doing a lot of damage in. He killed a lot of probes. In the words of Apollo, greedy Protosses, you deserve to die if you play too greedy.
He's been doing a lot of hating
with the Double Forge.
A lot of hating.
And
I didn't say that.
You said something similar. And SOS, I mean, after losing a lot of the probes early on, he lost 12 probes early on. He was quite far behind. I mean, he's falling behind on supply now. He knows his opponents as a 3rd. So he starts proxying pylons, at least this one. He has this one over there, with which I think he can warp down and send some Zealots. He spots the 3rd base. And at this point, I really thought he was going to go all in with all these gateway units. And without Storm. There was a lot of talks about whether or not we were going to see Storm. Now he throws down 3 cannons. That really confused me. I thought he might go and try and take a 3rd. Hope that Bomber attacks.
What do you think the cannons are for, though, by the way?
For defending, because he's up against Ghost, and he doesn't have detection.
but he scouts the third. I mean, isn't that just kind of forfeiting the game, even if it is
I think, okay, I was going to explain that. I think he wants to defend basically against this army over here. And then in the meantime, send in a bunch of zealots into the natural and third base to do the work. And I mean, if that happens, it's a dream scenario. The entire army of Bomber is going to be across the map. So at this point...
But he instantly cancels, I guess, is the weird part for me, is what I say, you know?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, SOS is moving out. Bomber, he finds himself caught in the middle of the map. The MPs are not good. And he's going to lose a lot of his army here. With just 1-1 versus 2-2, this double forge is paying off. The greed of SOS early on, he's not going to let him die in this game. He's going to stay alive. And he's going to start a third base at this point. He killed a lot. He's like, well, I guess I can take a third now. I've done what I had to do. He ends up chasing Bomber, and Bomber is really dealing very poorly with all of this. Behind this, he hasn't started 2-2. He's got the Ghost Academy, so he can finally start getting some ghosts, but it really feels like he was not in his comfort zone at this point. So he's like, well, he wants to get back to his comfort zone, which is pulling the SCVs. That's what he does.
Well, there was actually a cancel on 2-2. +2 was almost done right before the attack began. And then Bomber started the armor and then canceled both of them. And I think it was that really triggered him to go, oh my god, I screwed up. I got to pull the SCVs.
SCVs chasing this army is hilarious, by the way. SOS ends up turning around here, trading a little bit, and then Storm is just going to complete right before the huge engagement takes place. And with some good storms, SOS basically is able to secure himself the win in this third game. That's a nice move, by the way, with the Medivac here. Nice attempt by Bomber, but ultimately he had steamed everywhere. His army was split up. It was really a weird fight that we were seeing here, where SOS was trying to buy himself time, and in the end, with this counter-attack over here, I mean, the mining from Bomber was not enough. And I mean, as soon as you hold this is completely over. So, pretty impressive game here by SOS. I did not think he was going to be able to win that one. I know there's a lot of bets going around. If anybody had asked me who was going to win this one, I would definitely have said the Bomber.
Well, moving forward into Game 4, Belcher is going to be the next map. What do you guys think we have in store? I mean, Sean, you've already kind of made the declaration that Bomber's going to take 4 and 5. Knowing the maps, and still okay with this?
You know, I definitely actually think that Belcher Vestige is probably going to be Bomber's strongest map in the entire map pool. It definitely favors the 3-base play, pretty straightforward to defend. The attack angles are not very roundabout. If you can just sweep the edges for pylons, you're good to go. There's not a lot of places to hide stuff and do counterattacks as Protoss. SOS has been pulling out a lot of warp prisms just to do the job of proxy pylons, not even to try to do big warp-ins in the main base. So that could give Bomber some trouble, but I think this is going to be one of the most straightforward games we'll see. Bomber's probably going to be playing pretty identically to what he did on Akalon Waste, just big Marine Marauder numbers.
Burning question, Apollo. Is it going to be a Stargate for the 4th time?
No, not this time. Not on Belcher Vestige. I'm actually kind of interested. I wonder if we'll see Colossus play.
It will be a Stargate.
Oh.
Yeah.
Into Colossus?
Yeah.
Oh, into
Statistically speaking, we're at 100% so far in this best of 5.
Don't trust
All right, you guys, the players are ready to go. Map 4 is nearly upon us. Let's send it back to the caster's desk and get this series back underway.
Thank you so much, Marcus, and welcome back to the desk where we're getting ready to jump into game number 4 between Startail Bomber and Woongjin Stars SOS. Right now, SOS leads 2-1. It is match point for Bomber.
SOS, 1 map away, man, of making it to the global finals.
There's only one person in this entire building who thought that would happen.
There was one person in the world other than SOS who thought so, man. People were making fun of me on Reddit and Team Liquid, also calling me a hipster and stuff. Just ahead of the meta.
The original hipster nerd, Kevin Rotterdam Vanderkoor. We're moving on to Belcher Vestige, Kev. And
he's not there yet. We should never count out Bomber, as he's just such a fantastic Terran player, and you know, just 2 maps. Basically just winning a best of 3 to 0, man, and then Bomber is still in the grand final.
So right you are, Roddy. Belcher Vestige is the map, and spawning up in the top left-hand corner. The red Terran player from Startail, he is Bomber. A lot of Bomber fans in the house. Bomber's opponent in the bottom right-hand corner, the blue Protoss, leading 2-1, SOS. I want to remind everybody at home that you can watch the first-person point of view streams from these players at the eSports Plus stream. That is happening somewhere on the internet. I don't have the URL in front of me, but it's out there, guys, so go check it out.
I actually think when I come home, Ben, I'm going to watch the VODs from that, because I think that will be super fun and useful. And I want to see how SOS is somehow just able to put his units in the right position all the time when he has no observers. That's not fair.
It doesn't actually make sense.
No. I need 4 observers in general to be safe. SOS makes 0, or sometimes 1.
He just knows, man. He knows when he doesn't see the army that it has to all be in Medivacs, hiding somewhere.
I must say, man, what I really will take away from this series is that we saw a lot of cute small moves. Like, for instance, one time when Bomber went for the big drop on Ackland, and he sends the 2 empty Medivacs at first with 4 Medivacs with the bio units inside of it, a little behind, saying like, hey, please feed back my first 2 Medivacs. I think that's really cool stuff. In the last game, the hallucinated Oracle, you know, pulling away the SCVs, the real Oracle flying in. Even when it's only 3, 4, 5 SCVs on this level, on this stage, with so much on the line, man, if I could ever kill 4 SCVs, I'd take it any day.
Is this a faster gas than what we've been seeing, or is everything still the same? Maybe I'm just crazy, as it does look like Bomber's once more going to be opening up with a Reaper.
You are definitely crazy, man. That's no news to anyone here.
Today, no one learned.
Cybercore being wiped in for SOS, and so far everything is standard. Will most likely just be a Zealot into an expand, or maybe he's going to try to be greedy and skip the Zealot, but since Bomber has already attempted to drop an engineering bay once in his natural, he's definitely going to just go ahead and pull the Zealot. I was also thinking if we're going to see a Stargate or not, and I'm not sure, because I really thought that on Derelict we were not going to see a Stargate, but he did make it, so what do you think, man?
I don't know what to think anymore, Kev. I really don't want to say no Stargate, because even when it hasn't done anything for SOS, the games have been fine. It's never really put him behind. There's the Nexus going down right on time. Still no indication that SOS wants to go one way or the other. Bomber is looking absolutely standard. There's that reactor that we've seen every single game. There's that command center on the low ground, showing us supreme confidence from Bomber. Now, he had one, or SOS had one opportunity to walk across the map with a Stalker and a Mothership Core and do some very real damage. I wonder if he might make that adjustment here now that we're on Belshir Vestige.
Yeah, that's true, but the first Stalker is not in production yet, and I think he could have started it a little bit quicker if he wanted to. Also, though, we shouldn't forget that Bomber first sends the SCV and then starts scouting with the Reaper, so he does have a lot of time to identify what he's playing against and still, you know, take the necessary measures, drop the bunker ASAP, make sure that Marines make it over there in time. We actually see a Sentry first for SOS, so this is definitely a little different, man. He's not going to open up with a Stalker, it's going to be Sentry first.
And that could mean no Stargate, Kev, as that gas is going somewhere new this time. Bomber's gone 3 racks this time, so maybe feeling that he needs to have that extra Marine production out because it has been Oracle every single game.
2 additional gates being wiped in right now. This could be for defensive purposes, but could definitely, you know, go for some aggression as well. Maybe get a proxy pilot out somewhere in the map. We saw Duck doing this against Innovation. It's one of those openings where, you know, I can march across the map with my Mothership Core with only 2-3 units, but if I see you barely have anything, I can warp in 3 additional units, and suddenly it's 5 units in Mothership Core, maybe a time warp going down, because this is the exact same way as Duck opened. But considering the fact that Bomber has opened up with 3 Rexes and not with 2, or even sometimes, you know, you see Terrans go super greedy and go 1 Rex into factory immediately, I don't think that SOS ever wants to think about being aggressive, as he would just play into Bomber's hands.
There's the Robo that Apollo was talking about, so we could be seeing Colossus play on Belshir Vestige. It could also just be for observers and setting up that eventual transition. Oh, the Reaper's got moves like Jagger, hops up into the main base and is going to get a great scout, sees all 3 gates, and even the Robo before going down to Sentry.
Yep, so he spotted the fact that there are 3 sentries, also burning a little bit of energy, which is nice for Bomber to know. He's like, hey, if I want to send my Marines across the map, and that means that you just wasted 100 energy. That's 2 additional force fields, or that I don't have to worry about anymore. It's just going to be Observer into Templar, by the way, which I am not very surprised by seeing, unless he's also going to go Colossus at the same time. But I don't think he's going to do that. He will most likely just start researching charge once more, as he is just that type of player.
Yeah, definitely stylistically what he has favored. For as long as we've been talking about SOS, Kev, Observers and Zealots on the way. Twilight Council will finish up, and probably going to be a very early charge. Bomber's out on the map with a lot of bio, Kev. 22 army supply to 13. Whoa, there's an early Warp Prism. A little bit new, a new twist.
Oh, he's gonna have to drop foot and overcharge immediately, as these are a lot of Marines. But this is also a little risky for Bomber. Force fields will go down.
Wow, great force fields, and Bomber's forced to fight, and he will lose more than just a small handful of Marines as he runs away, I guess licking his wounds. That Warp Prism will be out on the map shortly, and that's going to give SOS some some strength, some ability to apply some counter pressure.
The observer that's making his way across the map as well is extremely important for SOS. It's the moment that SOS is going to see, okay, there's no third command center, he's going to see the timing of the factory and above all the starport. Now he just knows, all right, I'm just going to macro up on 2 bases for a little while because it seems like you are staying on 2 bases for a while. So I don't have to go up to 3 bases at this point, because if it's 2 base against 2 base, but I'm going to have an upgrade advantage, or I'm going to have Storm and Charge, I should be fine for quite a while.
I can't help but feel that this is looking great for SOS. Bomber's going to push forward once more. A scary number of bio units, Kev, but with no medevacs overhead. He's going to stem forward. Is there energy for a photon overcharge? Yes, there is. There it goes after the force field's going down, and once again, Bomber gets pushed back.
Bomber has been losing quite a few Marines here and there. He's never lost his entire army, but still, he's just not getting much done. Yes, he is burning a lot of energy and picking off a few zealots here and there, but SOS is completely okay with that, as long as he's buying time for maybe his first Archons or at least Charge to finish up. And certainly once those 4 additional gates finish, SOS can actually start thinking about putting on some counter-aggression as well with this War Prism. SOS is playing a brilliant game once more.
5 more gates. I think SOS smells blood in the water, Roddy, and I think Bomber will have a very difficult time stopping a huge gateway push from our Protoss player. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gates total.
Here comes the War Prism. He's going to drop a couple of zealots on top of this middle line. Bomber, his forces are so far out of position. Certainly if SOS decides to warp in a few additional units, but he doesn't even have to.
This is getting really tough for Bomber.
Okay, he's just not really... for a second I thought he was going to send the SCVs across the map. I was like, no, too early.
But he's also not sending any units back home. He's just relying on his reinforcements popping out of the barracks. Bomber's pushing forward as if he wants to make an attack. There's no Storm being researched. It's just Zealots and Archons against Marine Marauder Medevac. And good force fields immediately. It's going to be a lot of dead Marines. Hot pickup, but it only gets 3 Marines. The rest have been shredded. This Archon's going to get a lot of kills before he ends up going down. Here's the first-person view of Startail's Bomber, who's frantically trying to deal with this harassment in his main base while attacking on the other end of the map. He's down to 79 supply against about 85 supply of Protoss.
As a 2-base Terran in this phase of the game, you really hope to do more damage than he did, and instead he actually took damage. He lost a lot of mining time, he lost one of his refineries there, which is not a big deal, but that just shows for the fact that this is not the way that this game is supposed to play out in this phase. SOS is up 10 workers, Ben. He doesn't have Storm yet, as far as I know.
No, he hasn't even started Storm.
No. But I mean, he does have that +2 armor on the way. He's going to still have Guardian Shield for the fights. He has Archons. This is going to be very tough for Bomber. Next fight there will be a photon overcharge once more. I really love how SOS is reading these games and be like, as long as I don't need 3 bases, I'm not going to go 3 bases. I'm not going to play into your head. He's really adapting a lot.
Here we go.
How the game is going. Oh my God,
All
Bomber.
comes down to this. Bomber's got a huge army, and the SCVs are going to come join the fight. Photon overcharge has been forced. It should expire by the time the rest of Bomber's troops show up. High Templar are going to get focused down as well. Storm's a long way off. He's not going to have it for the big fight. Bomber's trying to end this game now. If SOS holds, he has advanced to the finals.
Man, those force fields are fantastic. Once more, Photon Overcharge is really doing a lot of damage. And as long as this goes on, SOS is going to wipe in more and more and more Zealots. He dropped a couple of feedbacks as well on these medevacs. This is looking absolutely fantastic for SOS.
SOS pulls the probes. Zealots and Archons against Marines and Marauders. The SCVs have melted away at 70 supply to 100. The army supplies favor SOS. Bomber has been beaten back. Good game. Congratulations. SOS moves on to the final.
And for the first time, man, SOS is happy as well. He raised his hands. What does this mean?
Finally seeing some emotion out of this very talented Protoss player. An impressive victory as we pass it on over to Marcus at the desk to give us his thoughts.
Thank you, guys. A 3-1. A lot of discussion about that final game up here on the desk. We don't have a whole lot of time before we go to the winner's interview, so let's make our comments quick. Who wants to kick us off?
Real quick, DJ Wheat.
Yes.
It's nice sitting with Todd. We're actually... Well, he's still a pro gamer. I was. Apollo wasn't sure about the ebb and flow of the game. We had to explain it to him. He's like, guys, I'd like to bet money on this because I'm so sure. And we're like, Apollo, you got that caster money. We'll take some of it from you. It was fine.
Great.
Jeff,
your argument, Sean?
The only one thing I agree with you on is that this is better for Jaedong.
Yeah,
you know,
we both agree on
That's
that.
the only one thing.
I mean, I really think that SOS played like a brilliant final game, given the fact that he set up so many Stargate plays back to back to back to back to back. And in that game, it was just a regular gateway opening. And I like that it can apply pressure if your opponent's being a little greedy. We've seen Bomber be willing to go for a 3 command center after his initial barracks just to try to exploit his opponent's patterns. And there, the ability to transition so quickly back into that Zealot style play, especially with the Warp Prism. I mean, Bomber, he read him like a book. Bomber wanted to win on 2 bases. He wanted to be aggressive.
Final thoughts real quickly?
I really like the incorporation of that Warp Prism at the end of the game. Bomber's been mid-map all series long. He wants to get that aggression. He wants to be at the base of the ramp. 4 Zealots tilted him. He's in that position where he's like, well, do I just come home and suffer that loss, or do I go all in? But with the Photon Overcharge and thankfully enough sentries to do that kind of passive defensive play, he was always going to be able to absorb Bomber and take the advantage, and then win.
Todd, you predicted SOS. Your thoughts on the series?
I was right.
Crap, I was right. I get the chance to say it.
Like, not just score-wise or with the player I predicted, also with the style that SOS used. I said he was going to use the Charge Lord Templar, and then in the end, in every game he did, and he was quite successful. He made this strategy looks like the most viable, the best that you can do versus Terran right now. So I think if Maru gets to the final, SOS is going to be the favorite.
All right, well, we found our first finalist. It's SOS. Let's shoot it to the main stage with Chobra, who's standing by with an interview with our winner.
Thank you, Marcus. And the first candidate to possibly be the best player of WCS 2013 in StarCraft II Auto Swarm, it is SOS from Wongjin Stars. Give another big shout out, everyone. So, you know, for a lot of the Korean players, the first year when they really get to go out into the foreign scene, it's new to them. You know, to hear you guys chanting their name, I want to see what SOS has to say about that.
일단 축하드리고요. 저희 이번 블리즈콘 와서 이제 결승전 진출하셨는데 방금 이기시니까 정말 관계에서 모두가 막 SOS 환호하고 그랬는데 느낌이 어떠셨어요?
우선 제가 어제 경기를 다 백스테이지에서 했어요. 근데 이렇게 멋있고 다 열정적인 팬분들 앞에서 경기하고 싶었는데 이대로 떨어지는 거 아닌가 해서 좀 그랬는데 올라가서 좋고요.
SOS says, you know, yesterday I was playing backstage the whole time on the eSports Plus channel. I was really eager to come out and play in front of such a passionate crowd. And today when I entered that booth, I was a little bit scared I might drop off, but I'm so happy I could win in front of all of you. It's love for the StarCraft 2 fans from SOS. Now, we had the casters, Bitterdam, talking about a little bit of the mind games, and that's why I love both of these players, Bomber and SOS. They really like to play with their opponents' minds. We saw that in Game 2 and 3, one from each. I want to see what SOS has to say about that. 제가 이제 두 분 다 어떻게 보면 좀 심리전으로도 강한 선수신데 오늘도 정말 둘째 게임에도 그렇고 셋째 게임에도 서로 막 의료선 먼저 보냈다가 뭐 예언자 먼저 보냈다가 그렇게 심리전 하셨는데 그러면서 뭐 좀 그냥 재밌다 그렇게 생각하셨어요? 아니면 자꾸만 또 그러면 최진 선수 또 뭘 생각하고 있을까 좀 걱정되셨었나요?
우선 상대 선수 플레이보다는 제가 오늘 좀 컨트롤이 좀 안 되더라고요, 생각보다. 그래서 좀 그랬는데 그래도 이겼으니까 좋고 그리고 아까 말 못했는데 백스테이지에서 게임 했잖아요. 그래서 제가 온지 팬분들이 모르셨을 수도 있을 것 같아가지고 저 왔으니까 이제 하나 좀 많이 해달라고.
Before he answered, he was like, hold on, I forgot. The reason I was really scared was because I was only backstage yesterday. I was scared that the fans might have forgotten that I was here at BlizzCon. But now that I'm standing here on stage, I really wish that you guys would continue to cheer for me the whole time and continue shouting SOS's name. This guy's hungry for you guys. But also talking about the game, SOS says, I was really worried today because my micro just wasn't as good as Bomber. That's what I thought. Bomber had way more control. He had better control of the units of the map, so I was a little bit scared. But again, glad I could win in the end 3-1 against Startail Bomber. Now, there's only one stage left for SOS if he wants to take that champion title of the whole year of 2013. And he might have to face two very strong players. It's either EG Jaedong or it's going to be Maru Prime. Let's see what he has to say and who he would rather face in the finals. 그러면 이제 결승전 상대는 아직 정해지진 않았지만 뭐 이재동 선수 아니면 조성주 선수인데 어느 선수를 더 만나고 싶으세요?
원래는 두 선수 다 상관없었지만 제가 8강, 4강에서 테란을 이기고 올라왔기 때문에 결승에서는 저그전을 해보고 싶어요.
Originally, I didn't really care which one I would have to meet in the finals. However, now that I've beaten a lot of Terrans, I'd love to play against a Zerg in the finals to take that title at BlizzCon 2013. Once again, this is Wounds and Stars SOS, who really wants to hear you guys shout his name back to Marcus.
Thank you, Chobra, and SOS declares who he wants in the finals, and that's Jaedong. Of course, Jaedong versus Maru is coming up next, and we'll talk more about that in just a moment. But your closing remarks, and maybe more so, SOS moving on to the finals. What are your final thoughts on this game?
I think that SOS just kind of shows us that, yes, he's still the creative player and the innovative player he used to be. I think he's shown a new style, or at least a new breed of how to play Protoss versus Terran at this tournament. But not only that, he's backed it up by playing incredibly well, incredibly solid, which I think has been maybe a little bit of his flaw come Season 2 and Season 3 this year.
He also just won at least $45,000.
At least, yeah.
And he gets to play a series for $100,000, which, good for him. That's amazing. I liked his comment about saying he was worried that people had forgot about him backstage. He played, I think he played on the secondary stream like a couple times, but
yeah,
he played
Hero and
both
Pole,
games.
both
not on the mainstream. So it's nice to see him come out here. I mean, again, everyone except for Todd, I guess, was like, well, Bomber's the favorite. Bomber should win it. And Bomber has that big fan base with StarTale and the awesome Red Bull backing, and just he's been a big fan. He's got a lot of fans here. But it's cool seeing SOS make a name for himself.
Yep.
Really cool.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to take a quick break in just a second. Of course, coming up next, the second semifinal, Jaedong versus Maru. But first, let's send it back to the main stage and hear from Paul.
Thanks very much, Marcus. We'll check in with the guys for predictions and what have you on our second semi-final very shortly. Don't forget, you can interact with us via #WCS and #BlizzCon. We are down to just 3 players, appropriately enough. 1 Protoss, 1 Terran, 1 Zerg. The semi-finals are next, but I think I might have found my favorite sign in the audience. Top dog!
We've neutralized the Protoss, but there's a wave of Zerg advancing on this position. We need immediate evac.
Belay that order. We're moving out.
What? You're not just gonna leave us?
All ships prepare to move away from Tarsonis on my mark.
Boys, how about that evac?
Damn you, Arcturus. Don't do this.
It's done. Helmsman, signal the fleet and take us out of orbit. Now!
Commander. Jim? What the hell's going on up there?
Hello again, this is Cloakin, the community manager for StarCraft 2, and I want to introduce an exciting new feature called spawning. Have you ever wanted to simply play StarCraft with a friend, but they didn't have the full game? Or maybe you're a Starter Edition user and simply want to find out how you can get more out of the game while playing with your friends. Well, spawning is perfect for you. Those who don't own StarCraft 2 will want to try out Starter Edition. It's a free way to play the game and available to anyone who has a Battle.net account. If you want to take advantage of spawning, or you just want to try the game out, simply download and install StarCraft 2 from your Battle.net account management page. If you'd like more details about Starter Edition, feel free to check out this video before continuing on with the one that you're watching now. So let's talk spawning. In short, spawning is an easy way to allow someone with a full copy of StarCraft 2 to share their game with a friend for free. Some of you old-time Blizzard RTS players might remember that back in the heydays of Warcraft 2 and StarCraft 1, we actually did something similar. Back then, as long as you had a copy of the retail game disc, you could bring others in to play with you who had never purchased the game. It was an awesome way to introduce friends to these games and play alongside them. Well, we're excited because today we add to this tradition by bringing this functionality to StarCraft 2, only without the need for all the disk drives. If you currently own a copy of Heart of the Swarm, you can now spawn up any player who is either playing from Starter Edition or Wings of Liberty and give them access to the newest expansion. Pretty sweet. Essentially, the experience is a lot like that of a normal Starter Edition user, but with multiplayer modes and options added in. Here's a quick summary of these additions. All versus AI modes are unlocked, including team games. Spawned players have access to the unranked and ranked ladder play for team games. You also have complete access to all custom game maps. And finally, they have complete access to the arcade. So how exactly does spawning work? Well, that's actually one of the best parts. All of this content is available for free simply by partying up with a friend who owns a full version of the game. Let's take a look. Here you can see the screen of my friend Spirion, who, for the sake of this demonstration, will be playing the part of our Starter Edition user. So at this point, Spirion has downloaded Starter Edition from his Battle.net account, and we're now logged in on StarCraft 2 at the same time. As you can see, Spirion and I are connected as friends over Battle.net, and you can easily do this by using the Add Friend feature in your friends list here. I'm going to go ahead and invite Spirion to party up with me in-game. Here in the party window, you can now see that the UI shows his account level as being raised to that of my Heart of the Swarm account. At this point, Spirion and I can move through the various modes and game options to play in whatever way we like. We can even hop onto the unranked or ranked ladders to use the matchmaker and play against other people on Battle.net. As long as Spirion remains in the party with me, he will be able to play with me at my access level. Then, whenever he decides it's time to leave the party, he will simply return to his Starter Edition access level naturally. There are a few features unavailable to spawned players that are probably helpful to point out. These features include access to the single-player campaign, the full experience of social features like clans and groups, as well as the ability to choose which race you want to play. Just like Starter Edition users, spawned players will only have access to the currently active Starter Edition race, which, at the time this video was recorded, is set to Terran. If you're a spawned player and want the full game, you can use the upgrade button found here. There's no need to download any additional version of the game. Just upgrade your account using Battle.net account management on the web, and then log back into StarCraft 2. That's pretty much spawning in a nutshell. Simple, easy to use, and innately social. Here are a couple of things to keep in mind about this feature. Spawning will also work for people who own Wings of Liberty versions of StarCraft 2. If you would like to share a StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty with a friend, you can spawn them up in the same way we've mentioned in this walkthrough. Only keep in mind that the content and balance will reference the Wings of Liberty version of StarCraft 2. You can spawn multiple friends. Currently, party size is capped at 15 players, which means you can spawn up to 14 other people at one time from your individual purchased copy of the game. Lastly, for Heart of the Swarm players, spawning is a perfect way to take advantage of the recent 25% experience bonus we've added for playing with friends in the expansion. Anytime you play games with a friend that you are connected to via Real ID or Battle Tag, you will receive a 25% increase in experience gained during that game. There is no cap to the amount of experience you can gain this way, so definitely take advantage of it. As you can imagine, we're pretty excited about spawning in StarCraft 2. It is an ideal way to bring your friends along for the ride and show them just how fun StarCraft 2 is. Definitely hop in game, try it out, and let us know what you think. If you want to go ahead and pick up Starter Edition, you can find that easily by clicking the link below. Thanks for watching, and spread the word about spawning. My name is Cloaken, and from all of us here at Blizzard Entertainment, we'll talk to you soon.
Welcome back to the World Championship Series 2013, the Global Finals, live from BlizzCon at the Anaheim Convention Center. We've got a bit of an apology to make because, unfortunately, the Hearthstone final was slightly running over, so we just had to wait for that to finish. But good news, StarCraft fans, your champion of the Innkeepers Hearthstone 2013 champion is Artosis. Just goes to prove that as StarCraft players, we can play anything. It's time to move on now for our second semi-final, but before we get there, we're going to get our predictions and our arguments from our moderating. Here's DJ Wheat.
Thank you, Paul. And they gave you the good news. It comes with a heavy heart that I have to give you the bad news. Artosis will be retiring from StarCraft 2 to continue his professional Hearthstone career. So that's just kidding. All right, well, congratulations to Artosis, as he is taking it all around.
Someone was starting to boo you.
No, they're starting to boo Artosis for losing his passion, man. Okay, we can't have two of those guys up there. Ladies and gentlemen, the second semi-final of today, Jaedong versus Maru. We are moments away from going into this matchup, the number 7 seed Maru versus the number 3 seed Jaedong, and it was SOS who made it to the finals and said, I want to fight Jaedong in the finals. Of course, he's got to get through Maru, the youngin', the superstar, if you will, who shows very little emotion, little care, but really wants to win. Guys, looking forward to talk about this matchup. Who wants to kick us off? Roddy, welcome back to the desk. How about you?
Hey. Hello, Marcus. Actually, I didn't expect you to call me out first, so I was like, all right, Jeff, take it away. I'm going to listen to Jeff being funny again and stuff, and that's normally like that every now and then.
That's like the commentator's trick of the trade, where you say something which doesn't really mean anything to buy some time to know what you're going to say. And I just helped him also, please.
And you just called me out on the spot.
I did.
Damn it, Sean. Yeah. I think it's going to be a super cool semifinals. Obviously very hyped. I mean, both these players are fantastic. Earlier today, someone mentioned that they think that Maru's weakest matchup is TVZ. I actually think he's fantastic in TVZ. I've seen him play some great Terran versus Zerg games. But, you know, maybe I'm wrong.
You just disagree with Day 9, so thank you for coming up to the desk.
Okay, that's it.
We'll see you later.
Security.
So, I don't know. I think
we'll
it's going to be
another one?
Close.
Another guess, please. Thank you.
Close, fun, exciting.
TVZ for Maru is 52%. TVZ for Jaedong is 64%.
Yeah, but Maru has been playing in WCS Korea and Jaedong in America. And with all due respect.
Oh.
America's best.
I agree.
Yes, Kevin? What are you saying?
With all due respect. I'll let my nodding do the talking for me, you know what I mean?
Over here, Todd in control. Your thoughts? Jaedong versus Maru.
I'm not super familiar with Maru's Terran versus Zerg, and by that I mean I haven't seen many games at all from him in this matchup, but the last few ones I saw, I thought he was pretty good in it. And like Kevin said, he's been playing the most difficult region out of the 3, losing to somebody like Solky or any top Zergs in Korea would not particularly mean you're bad in the matchup, just that you have a hard time versus this guy. So here versus Jaedong, I would definitely give the edge to Maru a little bit, but Jaedong has just been playing so well this tournament. I'm starting to believe that this might be his first major win here.
So you're drinking the In Control Kool-Aid, is what you're saying?
I mean,
I think it's got a brand name, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I mean, I think this whole time In Control has been saying, "I believe." And
you've been drinking the Monster as well, then.
Todd, please continue.
What an intelligent thing to say.
Okay, so my head says probably Maru, but my heart says Jaedong here. I might follow my heart this time.
What does your dong say?
My dong says Jaedong.
His dong says Jaedong!
Let's talk about what Maru has to do and what Jaedong has to do. You know, we had some insight into Jaedong's his approach to ZVT. Maru, I'd love to hear, you know, Apollo, from you, what you think the most effective way to just destroy Jaedong would be for Maru.
I think Jaedong has a couple of weaknesses when it comes to his Zerg versus Terran. Sometimes I think he makes counterattacks which don't work because using the playstyle that he uses, Jaedong, a lot of Zerg players will just wait until the attack comes and then look to crush it all as one. What Jaedong does very often is make that split decision to decide to throw units for the counterattack. Sometimes that doesn't work because it is very, very difficult to weigh it up if it will work or not. If Moro is making sure that he has defenses, whether it be turrets, bunkers full of Marines, and a mine or two left behind, and just kind of cover any form of counterattacks, I really think that could be a downside to Jaedong's play, because I can't remember exactly who it was. I think it was Bomber. He did a lot against that in the Season 2 finals, and every single time it didn't work, and his trades were very cost inefficient.
Well, and I think that's a series worth talking about, right? Because, you know, certainly trying to win that first championship, looking to go in there, people hoping, well, at least it's a longer series, but the 4-0 made it look like a little bit of a struggle versus Terran. Of course, there's clashing styles as well, but would you agree with what Apollo says as far as what Maro needs to do?
Well, absolutely, and I think it was Polt that did it to him even the season before that. Like, he played phenomenally, got to that final, and then all of a sudden it was a 3-0, 4-0 between Bomber and Polt, and they weren't close. It was a really hard series to watch for Jaedong fans. It kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, where I feel like when Jaedong he takes those risks, and counterattacks are a risk. It's basically you saying, you're out mid-map, you're looking to attack me. Based on that, I'm going to actually attack you as opposed to defend. And we all know Zerg doesn't have incredible stack defenses, so that's not really what he's relying on. He's relying on reactionary banelings, miscontrol, Marines walking on creep and getting bopped, whereas otherwise the Terran player would have full control of those units because there's not a counterattack happening, and perhaps they destroy the army and then win the game. So when Jaedong's able to do that and get the reaction he wants because he's hitting at the right time, he's got the information so that it's not like the army's approaching as natural, but rather it's mid-map. These are the kinds of things, these are the little things you have to look for to see a successful Jaedong series, because again, I need to remind people, he's not that soul-crushing, just overwhelming force of like, there's creep hitting the natural at minute 9. You know, he doesn't have 46 Mutalists where everybody else has 23. He's not like that. Right. He's a very much so micro-risk series kind of guy. He wants to get in their head and he wants to come out on top because that's what he needs to do to win.
But I think that's the real key to Jaedong's success, I think, with his victories in every single time. Because if you do not play that style, let's say he makes the right decision every single time, then he prevents players like Innovation, who all throughout their attacks are basically trading. And when you've been trading, they're always bringing more and more and more and more, and it will never stop. So if Jaedong's able to pull it off successfully, that can also be to his benefit too, because that you have to prevent the Terran player from taking the third easily and securing it. You must never really allow them, or I guess you're going to have to eventually, but you've got to slow them down from taking the 4th and the 5th. These are very important moves.
All right, I know there's much more to be said about this matchup, but the players are ready, and I know that the entire BlizzCon Convention Center here at the Convention Center is ready as well. So let's send it to the main stage to introduce our players for semifinal number 2.
Thanks very much, gents. We'll hear from them again after the match for their thoughts on Maru versus Jaedong. Confident? Sure. Brash? Possibly. Arrogant? Maybe. He's a 16-year-old who first played at the age of just 13. But this is the road to the semi-final of Maru Prime. Ladies and gentlemen, the WCS Korea Season 2 champion representing Prime, Maru!
Next match we've got coming up, it's Maru versus MC.
I've read interviews of him, I heard him in interviews. I already know I'm the best Terran, so at this point I'm just trying to win the tournament.
Maru is just microing so well now, dodging all the storms, just on the edge of the storm line, and when does land, he just moves immediately out of it here. As we can see on the mini-map, this is just power play for Maru. 4th command center, units streaming across, and MC may be broken here day 9.
MC's just getting wrecked. He has to tap out. GG, Maru takes the series to 1-0. The last thing he's gonna see is that it's Blink. He's moved everything to the bottom. He's in the wrong place at the wrong time. Blinking up into the main base. SCVs are gonna be coming up, and MC, oh, the time warp at the ramp.
Absolutely wonderful play here from the boss toss.
The Colossus has not begun to take damage yet. The Blink Stalkers, oh no, the Colossus getting surrounded, gets taken out. Maru has shut MC down at the front. The early Stargate pressure not gonna be enough, and MC is looking close to falling. The boss toss, who came in as the most successful SC2 player of all time, is eliminated. Maru proves his win in Season 2 was not a fluke.
We're here to cover Duck Duck versus Maru to really find out how the hell he went through Innovation, and can he do it against a Season 2 WCS Korea champion. And Maru, has he finally broken through?
I think he has. GG. Wow, fantastic game coming out of both these players, Apollo.
And as we can see, the Zealots being kited by the Marauders with their concussive shells, being slowed down, and only a handful of Stalkers remain. Time Warp is thrown on, the probes may come off, but GG is called. And Duck's tournament, unfortunately, not quite making it to the semi-final, but it is the Prime Terran who continues to march forwards.
Well, you know what? Maru deserves a top 4. He's one of the greatest players in the world, no doubt about that. He's shown it time and time again. So this is the World Championships right here, guys. This is the biggest StarCraft tournament of the year.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. A top 4 is something no one's going to forget for a very long time.
Ranked number 7 in the World Championship Series ranking table, a former WCS career champion. Please welcome to the stage, Maru Prime! His opponent is the last Zerg left in the competition. He has plowed a destructive way through to the semi-finals. This is the road to the semis for Jaedong. He's, of course, the Tyrant, a 4 times runner-up this year. Evil Geniuses, Jaedong!
14 more Zerglings are coming, but Banelings will be morphed. If Jaedong breaks this front wall.
Jaedong, Banelings being morphed. Jaedong, the answer to the answer. GG!
I think he's playing on another level now for almost anybody.
Banelings assaulting, the Hellions get surrounded. Oh my God. Is he gonna go? Is he gonna go? Did that tip him off? It looks like it did.
It's so extremely high levels. It's awesome StarCraft.
7, you know, it's possible. It's possible that Tyr is just gonna tap out here. Roaches, Lynx, everything is gonna be assaulted, and there it is! Completely surrounded. Utter decimation of this push. Jaedong reading Deer like a book. The star senses with Jaedong when everything's on the line. Deer now plummeted out.
Amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, ranked number 3 in the world, a 4-time runner-up in 2013. He is just 2 steps away from turning Kong into Dong. He is Evil Geniuses Jaedong! Our semi-final is just about to start. Your commentary team for this one, you're going to love this. Take it away, the Plot Brothers!
What's up, guys? It's Tasteless and Day 9 here. We're at the WCS Global Finals here in Los Angeles at BlizzCon 2013. And this has been, overall, such a crazy event. Artosis just won the Hearthstone tournament.
I know
I can't believe it's awesome.
It's the first pro gamer who is on the analysis and casting team today.
That's right.
Professional Hearthstone player, Artosis winning the hearts 1 RNG at a time.
Winning the hearts. So we got a really interesting matchup today here. We got Jaedong. He doesn't need much of an introduction, but he's a legend. He's lived through the ages of eSports. I know eSports is a pretty young thing.
Yeah.
But he's been around from the beginning, and he's still here. We got Maru, who's so young and super new. Again, it's the old versus the new here.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, the map downvote going to be an interesting choice. Pretty much everyone always downvotes Polar Knight. We've also been seeing that there's a marriage proposal to the right. We'll have to find out if we, I wind up starting a family after this match. Whirlwind is the downvote from Mar. What do you make of that, Nick?
I'm not shocked because Jaedong is like so good on these big maps as any Zerg is, and Jaedong taking out Polar Knight. Polar Knight's kind of a wonky map in general.
Smart decision.
Now
I
both
think.
these guys are super good at engaging, so I feel like a lot of the way the early game can pan out in TVZ is going to be one of the factors in how they select the maps here. A Derelict Watcher going to be first here. Now over to Maru.
Fantastic choice, Derelict Watcher, a big open map with lots of counterattack routes, just like Jaedong loves. Akalon waits for Maru, the correct answer in my eyes.
It makes
Shuts
sense.
down the counters.
He can actually turtle up and go into late game on that map easily. Belshir, Vestige here.
Wow, now that's an odd choice given what we've normally been seeing out of Terran players, that TVZ, very, very strong for all Terran players on Belshir Vestige. I mean, Frost and Yunsu going to be maps 4 and 5 makes sense, but I really think that map number 3 is going to be the critical match.
I got to agree with you, Sean. And it looks like it's time, guys. Let's get hype. Jaedong versus Maru. We are so close to crowning the world champion.
Oh gosh, we were talking about this, when the hype videos were playing.
Yeah.
We always want to count out Maru. You always want to count him out.
I've been casting him. Okay, first of all, so for Maru's super young. I think he started playing StarCraft when he was like 11. I believe he started like competitively, professionally at 11. And I actually don't have this information. I want to say he's 16 now.
Yes.
Yeah, 16. Yeah, I guess you got confirmation it is 16. But I was casting this kid for years in Korea, and I sort of got used to counting him out because I would just see him lose frequently, and
Yeah, he looked like a weak Marine King Prime.
Right. He was actually his first GSL at 13, and he was good. He was definitely like a prime Terran, but I never really thought he would get to where he is now, and I don't know if anybody can stop this kid. When you're in Korea, there's compulsory military service for 2 years, and usually that messes up most pro gamer careers because they have to stop playing and practicing. We don't see pro gamers come back from their military career and do very well. But when you're this young, like Maru, I mean, he doesn't have to go to the military for like years and years and years and years. So he's got crazy potential. WCS Global Rank 7, a very deadly player.
The 52% really doesn't show what his form is in the Terran versus Zerg matchup. I do, though, think that it is his weakest in terms of his in-game performance.
Yeah.
He has one tool at his disposal to be able to win this series, and that is his, probably bar none, top 3 Marine Marauder control.
Yeah, he wins in engagements. He makes me, I feel like he's Marine King 2.0. We'd see Marine King engage a lot. And oftentimes, he probably shouldn't be engaging in that moment, but his control's so good, he wins anyways.
Yeah.
I feel like Maru is an improved version of that, where he pretty much only engages when he should, or when it's going to be even, and he always comes out on top. So better, engagement, decision-making. Over here, we got Jaedong.
Yeah, Jaedong, I mean, I think that his Zerg versus Terran, once upon a time, his weakest matchup, we saw him 0-4 versus Polt, 0-4 versus Bomber in Season 2, and he's pulled it back and made it one of his just unbelievable strengths. And we saw that in Season 2, Jaedong going into WCS Season 2 was weak at Zerg versus Protoss, but focused on that and went undefeated in that matchup. I'm really expecting the same story here versus Terran. He's 3-0'd MVP and made it look easy. He is the favorite going into this series.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. He is definitely the favorite. Maru's really kind of had a rise to power, I would say, over the last maybe like 6 to 9 months or so here, where he's really been pretty dominant. But if you look at raw experience, which I think is crucial, especially in a live event with a massive audience, whether it's here in the convention hall or just online watching, experience helps out a lot. So that's something you got to keep in mind. Our map is going to be Derelict Watcher.
Interesting to note, heavily vetoed during Seasons 1 and 2. That's the most important thing to note. Most players were favoring the more standard-looking maps, the Whirlwinds, the Belshir Vestiges, but here, Derelict Watcher. Though it is a very open map, we've seen Terrans be able to figure out how to conquer these positions, and the biggest struggle for Zerg is, how do you secure the 4th base? There's 2 big locations to choose as a 4th, but how do you defend it? What is going to be the big late game composition? And interesting thing to note about Jaedong is that, you know, like all Zergs, he's going to go Ling, Bane, Ling, Muta, but what you'll see is that he builds up lots of Banelings earlier, before the attack begins to move out. And if you do attack, he'll use them for defense like every other Zerg, but if you don't, he sets up flanks, he sets up counterattacks, he places burrowed Banelings everywhere. Jaedong really is stretching the small units to the brink of their efficiency.
Yeah, he's able to eke out a lot of damage and get a lot of just overall map security with a very small amount. We are moments away from starting this game.
Wow.
Your prediction, Sean, going into this match?
Honestly, I'm leaning to 3-1 for Jaedong. But, you know, we were saying before, Maru is the easiest player to count out.
Yeah, at least for us, I'm just used to, you know, not expecting him to win. But over this past few months, I have to say, you never count Maru out. I think it's going to be 3-2. I don't know which way. I'm leaning a little bit towards Jaedong, but you never know. All right, guys, it looks like our map is loading up. So let's get noisy in here at BlizzCon 2013 here in the WCS Global Final. Maru, our Terran, Jaedong, our Zerg. The map is now loaded up. Introducing our players over here in the upper right at the young age of 16, a prodigy. Give it up for Maru.
Playing against Maru Prime, it's no secret that he's the crowd favorite. He has 4 second-place finishes, looking for a first place at BlizzCon today. Jaedong!
Massive amount of support here for Jaedong.
And it's hard not to. He just seems to know. Oh, he's going for a 10 pool. This is brilliant. We've seen Maru go for, in all matchups, command center first, over 50% of the time.
Yeah.
And this is generally considered a map where it's risky to do that. You probably don't want to be doing that, but you know what? Most Zergs are going for that really fast. Oh my god. Oh my god, he hasn't built a barracks yet. Most Zergs are going hatch first on this map. Where's it going to be? I've seen the money get spent.
Oh my god, is he going to... Wait. Hold on, we're watching Maru's minerals build up here. You know, there's a point in time where if it gets high enough, we just know he's going to make a command center. It's in the 200s now. This is really bad right now. Jaedong might just hard counter Maru.
Oh my god, in game number 1, Jaedong opening up the series with the metagame read. Jaedong is scouting for any proxy.
Oh god, he is going to make a command center.
Oh, there it is. He's moving down. Is he going to do it at the bottom of the ramp?
Low ground, the worst possible move here to open up.
Oh my god, tasteless.
I think he realizes it.
No, what? No,
he's trying to
command center on low ground.
He's trying to block the drone. Trying to block the drone here from making the hatchery. Jaedong, now he knows.
Jaedong needs to turn around and head
chase that. All right, he's going towards the main now.
And Jaedong has a drone in the main base. He's going to be trying to block this front for as long as possible. And Maru, oh my god, Maru is forced to throw down barracks now at 16 supply. Maru is light years behind.
Okay, so the Lings are coming up here. It's going to be very difficult to actually hold this attack here. He's going to have the SCVs on the right, or the left side, I should say, of the barracks and the depot. The drone is still going to be used to harass here. Every single unit counts. He's drawing SCVs away. The barracks at half health. The Lings are now getting to the entrance.
And the expansion also going down. Maru opting to throw down a command center of his own. He needs to stay alive during this attack, but that pesky drone still in the main base. Jaedong still dodging left and right. The depot at the left is at 250 hit points.
Now that SCV never slid outside of the side of the barracks there, so he's never able to take that out. More Lings are coming up here. I don't know how much more surface area they're going to get.
Can really only get about 3 picking away at each one of those depots. Marina's still not out yet. And I mean, Jaedong in complete command of this opening sequence.
But at the same time, I gotta say, you need to hand it to Maru. He actually held this. Now he's probably gonna pull away each Ling as it gets injured here.
There it is. He's down to 1 HP, keeping those SCVs off mining. I mean, SCVs mine at 40 minerals a minute, so if he can just get 2 or 3 extra minutes of time of those being off, those are full barracks that won't be placed down. And look at this, Jaedong with a sick control room. Remember that drone in the main? Well, it's an extractor now, so this funnels Maru down to an extremely small set of options.
It's beautiful the way that Jaedong is limiting each of Maru's options. Coming up here again because, you know, he has the Marine back there attacking that extractor. He wants to have the Marines protecting the depot as much as possible. So many little steps here Jaedong is taking to get Maru a little bit more behind.
What a move. The game has pulled back into more of a standard look, and Jaedong appears to be setting himself up in the same way that he normally likes.
But I have to, you know, Maru is handling this perfectly. The 3 command center inside the main is basically your best bet here. Now Maru coming out here and actually engaging these Lings and putting one of these CCs over here onto the low ground. Maru can still try to maneuver back from this, but it's going to be tricky. As Jaedong does not make any mistakes, it's going to come down to Maru's control to win this.
Yeah, but you know, Jaedong knows that this is the way that Maru has to play in this spot. There's no gas geyser going down, Hellions that arrive are going to be coming late, and there's really one of 2 options. Either Maru plays very, very awkwardly by going for Hellion and then for the sort of follow-ups, or he goes for this large Marine play. Either way, guess what's not going to be coming up for a long time? Stim. Jaedong has the freedom to expand, to tech. Maru has slow Marines versus slow Lings, and Jaedong is going to be able to pick these up too.
All right, he takes out these Marines now, giving Jaedong map control. Jaedong tried to call his bluff, saying perhaps my opponent is droning a little bit harder. Maybe I could put some pressure on. Jaedong already shutting that down. These Lings barreling towards the entrance of Maru's expansion. Going to take this Ling out before getting up there. And it looks like he's going to get a good surround. This is getting worse and worse for Maru.
Oh my God, Jaedong not even going to give Maru a second to relax. And it looks like Jaedong is hinting that the top of the main is where he's interested. But he's going to also get that scout. Was he able to see that there's those extra barracks up on the high ground? Yes, he sees the barracks. He sees everything that Maru's doing. This could not be a worse game 1 for Maru.
Yeah, the Lings in the back here make mining not a possibility. Maru now scanning, trying to get any kind of read and not getting anything. You know, Lings are the most cost-effective unit in situations like this. He's just going to wait and see if any SCVs come up, and then when they do, watch, he'll run in here, target down 1. Maru again getting into a worse and worse start, now attacking with the SCVs, which is a shocking play there. Going into first person now, we can see Jaedong controlling so well inside his base macro, and then bam, right back to those Lings that he's controlling.
This is what makes Jaedong so exceptional, his hand speed, and he's utilizing it brilliantly. Total number of workers killed off is at 8 for Jaedong, and these aren't even harassment units. He's getting more Marines as well. I mean, look at the devastating damage that we've been seeing out of Jaedong right now. He's picked off that initial pack of 5 Marines, 3 or so more up at the front. Worker supply heavily favors Jaedong. Income favors Jaedong. He has such a lead, but I mean, how does Maru come out of a situation like this?
Well, you know, with the double eBay here, you can tell that Maru is very interested in going into the late game. And what concerns me is that Jaedong should be able to get the 4th base while these upgrades are coming. Yep. Jaedong can actually expand at a pretty rapid rate here.
Yeah, I expect a 3rd base, excuse me, a 4th, and probably a 5th, both by 12 minutes. At the very least, a 5th hatch is a macro hatch in the main. I mean, Jaedong has complete freedom, and we're seeing that he's hinting that he wants to take those bases. There's no geysers at his expansion. He's only just now adding on those geysers, which means he has plenty of drones focused on minerals. His creep spread is looking good, and Maru's doing a very ballsy move that I think Jaedong is going to shut down again, taking the 3rd.
Yeah, I'm at this point in time, I think Maru is starting to realize he's just out of options. I mean, it might not be the safest move, but there's not much else he can do. He's going to have to lift this up. Now, bear in mind, that's not making SCVs when it's in the air.
Yep.
And he's going to go for Banelings here. Is that CC still in the air? Or did he just land that to land a mule somewhere else?
Oh,
yeah, he just landed it to land a mule, but now he is expanding.
God.
This is really bad. This base is so exposed right now.
A heinous misplay from Maru. He's going to try to assault this. The Zerglings alone can take it out, but you know what? Jaedong says, hey, that is a fresh, open, juicy main. Let's take that one down. Storm in the front. See you later, bunker. Zerglings assault the main. Stim only just now finishing. Banelings also continue to pour in.
Banelings now intercepting these Marines. But really doing a nice job back there was Maru shooting down some of them, but there just might be too many Lings. There's actually a second group of Lings coming up here now, and all these Marines pretty badly bruised. I believe he's warping, or morphing, I should say, more Banelings. No, he's not. He's going to just go ahead and just continue to attack, move into here.
Smart move. He's linging Maru to death, and this will reduce Maru's Marine count tremendously. And then what does that mean? Maru can't aggress. Maru can't defend his third base, and when the Mutalisks show up, then Jaedong will only have a matter of time before he's forced Terran all the way back. Third base has landed for Maru. We see a macro hatch also en route for Jaedong, but how does Maru come back from this?
You know, this is getting worse and worse and worse. At any moment, Jaedong can opt to just go to that third base, and that's what he's going to do right now. More Banelings coming in here, and Aspire on the way here as well.
Jaedong's got to be careful, though. He's only just now gotten the geysers at his third base, and that can put him way far behind. But we do see drones beginning to move out, thinking about taking those extra expansions. Maru clearly can't land a third. Maru still has to deal with this threat.
All right, he's coming up here now. The wall-in is not closed up. And this actually might be the killing blow here. This is too many Banelings. And now so many SCVs are going to be taken out.
Perfect execution by Jaedong. Back to back to back smackdown plays. Puke and creep over at the third base.
Oh, but he did land the command center in time, but I don't think that's going to help that much more. Supplies 50 to 95. Jaedong nearly doubling his opponent. And there's probably going to be more Banelings morphed in over here. Jaedong not taking a fourth. He's staying aggro on this.
This is just, I mean, sure, it might make sense from Jaedong's, or from the strategic perspective. Jaedong went for the 10 pool. Maru walked into the play, and ever since then, Jaedong has been battering Maru back down. But think about the psychological impact of that in a best of 5.
Yeah, for
in
sure.
game 1, Maru gets shut down, gets busted with just Speedlings, gets busted with Banelings, gets his third busted 3 times already. And this is his first push, the first attempt. Zerglings counterattacking. I mean, this is so psychologically difficult to come back from.
Now, here's the problem is, yes, he can pick up here in these medevacs, but I was about to say that, yep, they're muted out, and that's it. GG. Beautiful play there. Yeah, Jaedong beat me to it. I was saying, it's too bad. His medevac's moving out. Yeah, he could pick up and avoid Lings and Banelings, but we're at the point in the game where Mutas can come out, and that's exactly what happened. Maru's shut down, and I really like what you said back there, Sean, that this is a really bad way to start a best of 5.
Yes.
It's not like you were up 2 games, and then in game 3, this happened and you lost. I mean, it essentially is Jaedong's telling Maru, I know exactly how you play, and I'm just going to counter it.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
you know, just one more thing. I really feel like, you know, with Maru being somebody who's command centers first so much, that's going to make it difficult for him to want to command center more in the next few games, right?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, Maru then said, well, let me cut a few extra corners later on. And normally it's almost like one of those formal things, you know, like, you know, take 10 paces away and then turn around and shoot. You know, it's like, okay, you busted me. Then I should be able to take my third base safely, and everything should be fine. No, right. Jaedong busts in there and then sends Lings and Banelings in. I mean, in Maru's shoes, even someone who is as calm, as confident, as stoic as Maru, you can see him feeling the tension.
Yeah, and I don't think Maru's definitely never played against an audience this massive before, so a frustrating moment. Next map is going to be Akalon Wastes. The countdown has now started, and this is going to be game number 2 here. Are you guys having fun? At the WCS Global Finals, Maru against Jaedong.
This is a key map. Maru's hoping to push it, to tie it up, to get to Belshir Vestige, one of his highest win rate maps. That phenomenal marine control. Haven't even gotten the chance to see it yet. Up in the top left-hand corner, one of the youngest StarCraft champions of all time and the youngest player at BlizzCon 2013. Give a cheer for Maru Prime! And in that moment, you even saw his hands so cold, adrenaline pressure kicking in.
Breathing on the hands to heat him up. Over here in the bottom right, as far as I can tell from where I'm hearing in the audience, the fan favorite. Give it up for Jaedong.
You know, at the caster desk here, we have soundproofing headphones, you know, so that Nick and I can hear each other as we talk. But when the crowd cheers for Jaedong, it still
like that,
erupts into our headsets.
My water was vibrating like Jurassic Park. Like, that was pretty sick. Okay, so we have the drone just going to move out here. It looks like he wants to check and see if there's any hidden barracks. It's not uncommon if you get cheese in one game and lose to try to cheese in the next game.
Yeah, that's one of those weird human subconscious moves. Oh, that was a pretty good move. I'm going to cheese too. I like that. But I think that Maru is doing the perfect opening on this map for what he saw in the last game.
Yeah.
He's going Reaper, Expand, common on this map anyways, but here, Maru gets to protect himself against cheeses. Jaedong's scout is going to be relatively fruitless. I mean, there's really only one clear thing that can be happening at this point in time. So Jaedong's lost a little bit of mining time. And right now, Jaedong has an important question coming up. Which third does he take, and how does he set that up?
Yeah, this map, if we can just kind of highlight the architecture of this map for a second, it is a map that is very easy to just expand on, to turtle, to defend, and to go into the late game. So we tend to see some of the longest StarCraft 2 games on this map.
And what's interesting about it is that, like you say, with that turtling, Terran gets up to 4 bases pretty easily, which is very uncommon in Terran vs. Zerg unless it's a really epic game. Normally, when the Terran takes the 4th, it's kind of a formality. The Terran's already won when he's in that position. But here, a Terran who's pretty far behind can still establish a safe 4th.
That's absolutely true. The upper right expansions and bottom left expansions don't normally end up being taken for long periods of time because it's hard to hold them. But regardless, we should be going deep into late game unless one player likes to do something really crazy, which we have seen a lot from Zergs at times.
Definitely.
Because the Terrans, getting a little bit too greedy. I don't know if Jaedong's going to do it this time. Reaper play here from Maru, and this is a smart move because he can take out the Zerglings that are on the field. He can harass, he can scout, and this is going to allow Maru, unless he loses this Reaper, to know exactly what's going on at any point in time, and he can just counter that, get into a healthy position, and then get to where he wants to be, which is where he can have all those Marine engagements.
Well, Jaedong doing the smart thing, doing the build, and then canceling a little bit on the Geyser. Always a very strong play, keeping the drones alive as long as possible. And this is just one Reaper that's killed 2 Lings, and now, a drone. That's actually a very nice game by Maru.
And then we have one Reaper here to defend. Now, Maru needs to actually be careful.
Oh, no. Oh, Maru.
That screen.
Oh, my God.
That screen can't be 2 places at once. That's why you got to be fast in StarCraft. He took out the Reaper. Now the SCV can't finish the command center. That was a very quick little mistake that actually has a huge impact right now because the longer that command center is not done, is he going to get this SCV? He's actually zoning out the SCV with the Lings right now, so it can't get back to the command center.
Oh, Nick, that was 30 seconds, almost 45 seconds. That's 2 SCVs that Maru's never going to be able to build. That's a late orbital command, and that's going to botch the flood of barracks timing. We see the Zerglings there doing a little scouting. I do want to come back to that barracks timing note because, losing money and getting delay, that's just sort of amorphously bad. But why? The Terran player needs a lot of money to throw down 4 barracks and go into big Marine production.
Right.
Because of that delay, it's going to be at about another minute before the Terran can get powered up. And that means the push is going to come out late. Jaedong's Mutalisks are going to be able to push Maru back longer. So now Maru, the pressure's on him. He's got to work super hard to batter Jaedong back with these Hellions.
Yeah, he needs to do something to kind of regain control here. He does have the Reaper and the 2 Hellions, as you said. It's going to be tricky, though. The Lings now with speed, he might be able to pin them against the wall. He does.
What a micro move there by Maru.
Yeah, that was nice, actually splitting them up, too. He had the Reaper go one direction, the Hellions go the other. And now he does get out. If he had gotten cornered there, that would have been a disaster.
Now, what is the answer from Maru? Well, it looks like he's saying, if you've delayed my barracks, I'm just going to accept that. He's building so many Hellions. Normally you stop at 4 to 6 in that range. He's built all the way up to 7. And is going to, looks like being quite aggressive coming up.
Okay, the Hellions are moving out again here, actually splitting up. And the Overlord placement here by Jaedong, if we could just get a shot of that. Look how he's spreading the Overlords out on this corner area of the map. And actually, for instance, hugging them over these big cavities where the Marines can't get under. He wants to make absolutely sure that he's going to see every single drop that's going to come in here.
I think Maru doesn't realize that there's Lings counterattacking up into the main base, and they're just going to waltz straight up to the high ground. Oh, no. But still, the natural expansion is under threat. Jaedong loves these counterattacks with small, basic units thus far. Only 3 SCVs have been killed off, but the Marines don't manage to make it back.
His Ling zoning is so sick, he just blocked that off.
Right.
From Marines from getting inside that bunker. So there's more Lings parked outside here.
Oh my God. Jaedong isn't teching. He's just built.
Wait. He got spotted. And he needs to get these Lings out of here. And yeah, he is just continuing to make Lings. He might try to do a bust here.
Don't do it, Maru.
Oh
Maru's about to get surrounded.
It's going to be, he might be able to trap these Hellions. These Hellions are way out of position.
Does he know? It looks like Jaedong is just,
oh my God. Oh my God.
And the barracks flood is late due to the delay.
The Hellions are coming back.
They're coming back.
I don't know if they're going to get there in time.
Oh, but Jaedong rides out to meet them. Doesn't matter how good your kiting is, the Ling numbers are just a little bit too big. And here comes Jaedong streaming in with Banelings. Maru's control, sickeningly good, but the numbers are just too big.
And here come the Banelings now, barreling towards the entrance. Jaedong does not want this to go to the late game.
Unbelievable reads. Jaedong storms the front, the reactors fall, and it looks like the Marines stim. There's not enough. Jaedong, will he get a clean 2-0? Maru's control is his only hope now.
Maru in a lot of trouble. The Zerg army can park over the production facilities, which means anything that spawns out of there insta-dies. And I think we are probably going to see Maru tap out momentarily here and push us into game number 3. It is physically impossible to recover.
Moving in, connecting with anything, it doesn't even matter. The entire army, 1 medevac, 3 Marines, and a pair of Hellions.
Lings, they don't even have to get a good angle here. He's actually morphing Banelings literally next to the barracks.
Oh, there the Banelings roll up to the top. See you later, remaining
Maru
army.
is at 12 supply now. GG!
Undefeated thus far in the Zerg vs. Terran matchup at this tournament. 3-0 against MVP, 2-0 against Maru, 1 game away from his 5th major finals appearance in 2013.
What's up with Jaedong, man? This guy's like in a hurry to finish up this tournament win. It's like he's got to catch a movie later tonight. I can't believe how brutal these games are. I actually thought this was going to be much closer. We're going to go into game number 3 here, but Maru has been rocked so far.
And you know, we talked about this at the very start of the series. The key map is map 3 in this series, Belshir Vestige. Jaedong struggles on this map. It's tighter. There's not as many counterattack paths. Terran's attacks are very easy to zone mute as Lings, Banelings alike. So Maru needs a win on this map, but the pressure's on. He's lost to Big Bus, which is Ling Baneling, 2 games in a row now.
I wonder if he's going to go for a similar build to the last game again. He is really in control of, like, even into the first 2 minutes of the game, Jaedong's already, roughing up Maru here. He's not even letting Maru get to the part of the game that Maru's good at.
Yeah, that's such a great point. Maru's biggest strength is Marine Marauder control, and we've just never.
Jaedong's like, well, I just won't let him make Marines then, and he wins the game.
What a play.
What a play, Jaedong.
What a move.
All right, we're going to go into game number 3 now. Can Maru turn this around? Or is Jaedong, a legend, old school here in Brood War, going to get that much closer to being crowned the best StarCraft 2 player in 2013?
In his last series against Deer in Game 5, when it began, he said that he felt like he'd already won. And when Jaedong feels a win on his hands, there's almost nothing that can stop him. Can Maru avoid defeat in this game, bring it to just another 1, and have 1 more shot to get to Game 5? He can't lose focus now. In the bottom right-hand corner, the youngest player in BlizzCon. His hope is nearly gone. If you want to see him stay alive in this series, give a cheer for Maru Prime!
And in the upper left, the undisputed best Zerg in Brood War, now here to become the undisputed best player in the year 2013 in StarCraft 2. Get loud for Jaedong.
The number of dongers raised is astounding.
So we do have an early drone scout here. I don't think we're going to see Command Center first from Morrow for the rest of the series. I mean, assuming that, like, let's say Morrow keeps on winning, I still don't think he's going to do it. Jaedong seems to really be okay with just aggressive play.
And, you know, I want to come back to what we saw last game, the delay of that Command Center, the little subtle move sending 4 Lings off, how Jaedong is able to exploit that with the follow-up attacks, and the Marine numbers were just not there because of the disruption Jaedong caused early. And disruption is what Jaedong's game plans always revolve around. Even this little drone, it's causing an extra SCV to get pulled off. It's delaying the Reaper just a little bit, and we're seeing Jaedong sneak extra drones back home in his main.
You know, Jaedong's harass is very Brood War-esque. He's just really good at having one worker inside your base do so much damage, be such a nuisance.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, I think a little bit of a bigger theme in Brood War, but he's kind of brought that here in StarCraft 2, was that, like, the one worker just, like, really being annoying and harassing and scouting and just interfering with everything you're trying to do.
And it's that exact sort of thing that we see so uncommonly in StarCraft 2. I mean, most of the time it's, you know, again, take 10 paces and then shoot. Players tend to follow along paths.
It's that tacit agreement of, well, I mean, we should probably play into the late game, you know?
Yeah, you know, my Death Ball versus your Death Ball Tuesday.
Yeah, I have 1 to 2 cheeses perhaps stored into this best of 5, but so far, Jaedong just really aggressive. Now we do have the Reaper build coming again here from Morrow, which is not really surprising at all. I mean, he really has to figure out exactly what Jaedong's doing in this series if he's going to be ahead, and he just goes into Command Center after that. So this is the quickest way he can expand while still, you know, not taking a huge risk.
Now in this position, we're seeing a much calmer Reaper. It's just going to shoot a larva, okay? It's not going to try to find drones or Zerglings. It's not going to try to step into some dangerous micro situation. It's just going to make sure it has a retreat path. And I think that's very wise for Morrow. He's also gotten the second Reaper and is instead also heading to join up with it. He sees where the Lings are.
Well, you know, think about this. I mean, that last Reaper that you lost in Game 2, that was when the game started to get out of control.
Yes.
So it definitely wants to be safe this time around. Now, note that Jaedong, if we can get a shot of these Lings here in the bottom left, just a little bit left here.
In the peninsula between
it's in between the Zerg second and the Zerg main, and there are Lings there, but he wants to see if those that Reaper, when it's coming up in there, if he can actually get them, because that's a really odd position to actually hide them.
Ooh, and I like this play out of Morrow. This is the sort of play that works very nicely on this map. He's not going to go for an extremely fast third command center, just a fast-ish third command center. And he'll be getting a very quick Viking to kill off Overlords, to sweep the map, because we see Jaedong already has 2 Overlords on that side of the map, and we're seeing a third one head to the right. We're seeing 2 more skirt around the back of Jaedong's baits. That's 5 potential targets for this Viking. I mean, Polt has used this a ton against Jaedong, though, so he has a lot of practice versus it.
Yeah, it's very true. I really like the one Viking in the TDZ, just to clean up the map, because I mean, if you have an Overlord that's there the entire game spotting, it can completely change everything. We'll see 100% in a little bit here if he's going to actually go for that, but I think it's definitely a good option.
Well, interestingly, he's going for Hellion Banshee. Now, normally I would say, oh yeah, Hellion Banshee, great build, old school, coming back into the new, given how many corners Zergs are cutting lately, but Jaedong destroyed MVP when MVP pulled that play up. Just wrecked it and swiftly countered for a fast win. Jaedong now getting the 7-minute layer, spreading creep for Queen, Zergling speed done. I don't think this Hellion Banshee move is really going to do much. He's going to have Overseers by the time the Cloak's done.
Yeah, you can see he's really picked a very different route than what we're used to. I'm used to seeing him do a lot more Marine harass here. But yeah, he's going to go for this Hellion Banshee, see if he can't do some damage. I'm curious if Morrow's picked this build that he's doing on this map based off what he experienced in the last 2 games, or if this is a pre-scripted build.
I genuinely wonder that as well. I mean, I think that this is probably a little of both. This obviously is a build order you can do lots and lots and lots without much of a problem, but it's also very safe. No cheese is going to be able to deal with the Banshee. And oh no, Jaedong sweeping into the front. Oh, boom!
Almost got in there.
Great reaction by Maru.
Now the angling here can be pretty good for the Hellions unless they get surrounded like that. Okay, nice. He's going to slip through the minerals. These Hellions can really optimize their damage now.
But Jaedong is sweeping in to meet them. He has the Zerglings that were involved in the counterattack coming back. Oh! What are you doing, Maru? He is extending himself way too far. He has lost all of his map control.
He lost way too much.
What a disaster for Maru.
That was a disaster. He just fed right into him. You know, this Banshee Harass has to be backed by a big swath of Hellions. Or it doesn't really have the weight.
Oh yeah, I mean, a Banshee needs things to defend itself, and everything Jaedong's doing is brilliant. Look at this, 9-minute double evolution chamber. Why so late? Because he perfectly read the Hellion Banshee and rushed for a quick layer. Soon enough, Mutalisks are going to be out, and there's not even extra barracks done. It's a single barrack. Stim has only just begun, Nick.
Yeah, this is pretty scary. Now, he's going to go for the Evo chamber, but those are obviously not going to be picked off. Now, can he get the drones here? Nice transfuses going down. Actually, that's really good.
No, 12 drones lose their lives. Cloak lands. Jaedong, who was inches away from shutting it out perfectly, suddenly has taken massive losses to his economy.
Yeah, Maru beginning to tip the scale here. That was what he wanted to do all along, was just kill a large number of drones to try to set his opponent back. So Maru playing very well now.
But mutas are done, and look at this, Nick. Only one barracks still. The Marine count at 3. Just 3 Marines to deal with all the Mutalisks Jaedong's going to be throwing out.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty rough. Looks like the Banshee Harass is going to end here.
12 kill Banshee, brutal.
Yeah, really brutal. Now, because he opted to go for the Hellion Banshee combo, his core Terran army, which we would call like just Marines and medevacs, are going to be later. So that may allow Jaedong to get a 4th base a little bit easier. But in the past few games, we've seen Jaedong really just stick to 3 bases and go for a control-based game where he's just limiting his opponent's options instead of expanding his own.
That's a great way to put it. He wants to cut his opponent down because Jaedong excels in these tense, small unit micro situations, as we've seen with his Zerglings in every one of these games. Now, Maru's doing a very unusual choice, but one of desperation. He's thrown out he has 2 Banshees on the field, and given his previous losses, he's invested heavily into this. He's hoping the Cloaked Banshees can delay. If Jaedong just snipes a single one, all of a sudden Maru is going to be way back on the back foot.
All right.
There it is.
Nice. Muta's coming in there, getting that pick off. Now, Jaedong from StarCraft 1 had just unbelievable Muta micro. And he's definitely brought that over here in StarCraft 2. Now we're going into first-person view here. With Maru, and he's going to expand here. Now, people used to play this map as Terran. They would expand to the bottom left corner if you're in Maru's position. Oh, hold on, I'll get to that in a second. All right, he does just push him out. Oh, no. Now Terrans expand to the center right base. Because that way they can push the Zerg's natural 4th a little bit easier.
Very aggressive way to play, but Nick, I don't know about this. While Maru's doing all of this, he's building add-ons at all of his barracks. That means there is no reinforcement set coming.
Yeah, and all those are reactors. I mean, that takes a long time to make, so it's going to be an even longer time before Marines are out here. This base is pretty exposed. It's not as easy to defend as the bottom left base, but if you take the bottom left base, Zerg then just gets the 4th, and obviously Terran wants to stop that.
Yes.
So what Maru's going to be doing is attacking so that this 3rd base of his is not bothered by Jaedong, but the question is, can he, with his good control, take on Jaedong?
Now here's something crazy. He's sweeping on in. He's going to be able to surround these Hellions, and down they go. The Banshee's going to take a fall too, but the Banelings haven't connected yet with the Marines. The reinforcements for the Marines are nowhere to be found. Where are they? The risk that Maru took to get the add-ons is not paying off. Jaedong is going to break the 3rd.
Yeah, we have some reinforcements coming up here now. Jaedong may regroup and attack in here. No, he's going to go right for it. Doing a ton of damage, just tearing through. Now hitting the workers, forcing the Marines to chase these mutas now. I don't know how much more energy is on those medevacs, but I'm pretty sure that he's probably just going to regroup and attack in here again. And so Maru's going to wall off now this location and go into hardcore defense.
But look at Jaedong swinging lings along the left side. Maru desperately trying to wall off his 3rd base. You normally don't want that walled off. It's way too vulnerable, and more importantly, it cuts down your own ability to attack. But Jaedong, who had only 5 Mutalisks, sees that the Terran's on the defensive, has swelled up to 18, and the counterattacks begin.
Okay, the Mutas now can come in here, and this is perfect angling. The ground army is not going to be able to attack as easily, but the Mutas can clean up these SCVs. We see now Maru running over here to try to defend these SCVs, with the Mutas already escaping. There's a small drop over here. We'll see how quickly Jadon can deal with this. We do have some more links coming up here now. He'll most likely pick up and go into the main from here.
Brilliant sensor tower positioning, and look at Maru. He's been on the ropes this whole game, but he's holding strong. He's powering up 54 Marines on the field, and there ain't a lot of Banelings yet. Only 8.
Maru actually has a superior supply to Jadong right now. Now he's spreading out really nicely here so that Banelings, the splash damage can't do as much as, you know, the Zerg would obviously want. Now Jadong did take his fourth at the far left. So what Maru's going to do is try to push into the third. This will be a little bit tricky. Let's see if Maru can do it. Jadong now barreling down.
He's going to try to snipe every medevac that he can, but he realizes that now is not the time. The Zerglings do march deep into the main base of Maru, and some more SCVs are going to lose their lives.
You know, he actually is doing such a good job with dealing with this army. He just ran out with the Banelings. He's using the Mutas while Maru's distracted with the Zerglings in the main to just shave off the corners of these spread out Marines. And now Jadong's going to back up again. Supplies dead even in an attack en route.
Oh, the Banelings! What the mines? What were they doing? Taking nap time, not connecting with those Banelings. The Marine count continues to tumble. The Mutalisks are being controlled magnificently. A pair of Spine Crawlers go down as Jadong really feels the pressure, spiking up at his third.
Okay, another attack coming in here now, and this is a very small Marine ball, but if he can just get into this corner and get that hatchery, Jadong looked like he wanted to go for a counterattack, then changed his mind. Now attacking in here again.
This is Maru's greatest strength, engaging in these angles properly. No more Lings, it's Mutas.
I think there's just barely enough Mutas.
Oh my God, but Maru has done tremendous damage.
Now chasing the rest of this out, the medevacs boost out to escape. More reinforcements coming in here, but you know, the foothold that Maru had outside of Jadong's base is just not there anymore.
Wow, Maru took a seemingly unwinnable situation and has turned it back around. Look at the fourth for Jadong. Hardly anything mining right there. That means there's not really going to be very much gas for more Mutalisks, for more Banelings, all the key units. 25 Zerglings are out, and guess what? No macro hatch. This means that essentially it's only a matter of time. As long as Maru's able to control his units perfectly, he's pumping out the perfect biomine mixture.
He's going to try to move in here again as scan, but doesn't really reveal that much. Most of those units were outside of the scan, those Banelings morphing in here. And I believe we have a counterattack down here at the bottom. So Muta's actually just trying to get this Marine army to slow down. Now, again, Maru is in a supply lead. So Jadong has to have some pretty scrappy play if he's going to win this.
No burrow for Jadong, so it's hard to find where those big players are going to come from. These Banelings have got to be supremely careful. There's mines littered everywhere. 9 on the map right now. Pretty good Baneling connection, but Maru's pulling back into this funnel. A beautiful angle, but the mines don't quite...
nicely
wow.
done! Now the Lings will come in to complement the Mutas, and Maru's beaten back again. Another attack over here on the far left, though. Jadong's supply is dropping.
But
oh
the right
my
base.
God, but that might not matter.
It looks like all the SCVs are going to tumble down. Maru's going to lose a command center. He's going to exchange it. 3 base versus 3 base. It's all about efficiency, and the biomine is one of the most efficient compositions in this game. Jadong knows he's got to pick off medevacs. He's got to pick up any little edge that he can. The SCVs are open. What an insane game 3, Nick.
Yeah, hitting these SCVs really hard here. A mule's now landing. Now it's 3 base to 3 base, but I think Maru might just barely have enough harass going on here that it's going to just halt the economy here of Jadong. There's a lot of drops going on everywhere. Jadong now expanding again to the close base of Maru. Really interesting.
A really wild surge of action. Yeah. Jadong managing to somehow find the supply lead.
He got the command center. Nicely done. Maru on 3 base for quite a while now.
But what do you do as Jadong right now? You've got to regroup. You have drones going every which way. That was an extremely chaotic mid-game. I mean, what a series of back and forth trades. Jadong needs to regroup. He needs to hold tight. Maru has a clear path to the 4th base. Jadong's desperately trying to add on more Banelings, but look at Jadong's gas hovering all the way up at 2K. Zerg players dream about that, man.
This is really nice here for Jaedong because he has a sick tech transition that he can do at any point in time with that much gas banked up. Now we have Jaedong coming down here. Now Jaedong has to be very careful. Maru has been ahead in supply this entire game. It's just been Jaedong doing a very good job shaving off little armies here or there. But there was this one moment, a few minutes ago, I should say, where Maru hit that far left base, dropped into the main and to the second base, and that was where things really slowed down for Jaedong. Things have calmed down a bit, but it looks like Maru's now going to push out again, and it's going to be head-to-head here.
Oh, Jaedong has spotted the bottom expansion, but Jaedong has to deal with this push at the front. Banelings carefully stepping forward and back to make sure that they don't erupt too many mines. And Jaedong is dangerously low on units. He has almost no lings, 14. He has more Banelings than Zerglings at this point in time. And Maru has a perfect army. It's basically all Marines. 82 on the field.
It looks like he's going to move up now. The mutas are going to come around. Jaedong wants to do anything to delay his opponent. Things are slowly slipping out of control here for Jaedong. He's now going to engage. Whoa, no. Big risk there. And Banelings now coming down and connecting.
Oh, the mine answers in kind.
GG. Maru still got a shot. It was a close game back there. He'll have to win the next two if he wants to move on here.
What a move by Maru. Taking all that sick damage, doing so much to stay in that game despite everything Jaedong threw at him. That does mean that now Jaedong leads the series 2-1. It's not going to be a clean sweep.
Marcus, what are you guys thinking about over there?
Well, definitely thinking about the fact that we've got game 4 right around the corner. Jaedong with the lead currently 2-1, and we're going to make this quick. So we'll start with you, Apollo. What do you think? So far, Jaedong with the lead. Obviously, 2 very aggressive games. The macro game comes along. Maru seems to have a little bit of an edge.
Even though Jaedong's winning, I really think Maru was very surprised coming into this series of what to expect from Jaedong, whether it would be aggressive or normal play. And I think he got caught off guard a little bit in the first 2 games. But even though he got caught off guard in the first 2 games, he played very well in game number 3. But it's still very difficult to come back from a 2-0 deficit like that.
All right. Over to this side. Todd, or In Control, your thoughts on the matchup so far?
I'm surprised Apollo does not speak nearly as much when we're on air.
She's feisty.
We were actually talking a lot about strategies and everything that was happening, and like there was a lot of good thoughts going around. But yeah, in that third game, I really feel like Maru finally played the game plan that he wanted to go for, and just was solid enough not to take damage or die to these all-ins that Jaedong have been throwing at him.
Yeah. Belcher-Vest is also a really tough map for that parade push, I feel like. We've seen this kind of classically a lot. I really like the third base placement of Maru. It allows him to rally to a central place that's both important economically, but also acts as a staging point for that aggression into what Jaedong wants to be his 4th. We saw him forced to go to the left side of the map, but that's just a very droppable spot when you got that rally going to the right side of the map. So really good.
All right, real quickly, next map is Frost. Yes,
yeah,
let's talk about that.
See that?
Well, we're on the same page, Apollo. Yeah.
A nice big map here. It's going to be very difficult to continue that same style that we saw on Belcher Vestige. Frost, it really depends on where they spawn as well, but this is a lot harder for Maru to play that same style.
All right, any final thoughts?
Jaedong still has a game to give, and the guy likes to go into his little cheesy basket. He might go in there again.
I want Sean to do a little prediction here of what we might see, because, like I said, you're talking a lot
Look at that look of pure hatred.
I want to put you on the spot. Come on.
Jaedong's going to win this next game. What more can I say?
By the Queen of England, I'll strike you down, friends.
Should it go to a split, 2-2, Yansu?
That's when Jaedong goes back to cheese. This next game, no.
Okay.
No. Okay.
Listen to me. Just watch.
Exerting that confidence. I like it, Apollo. Any last comments here? No. No,
nothing to say. Kevin, next time we come back to you, you should actually do some talking.
All right, we're just waiting for the players to get ready, so I'm going to force you guys then to answer some questions. SOS is sitting in the finals. He said that he wants to be fighting Jaedong. He's 1 game away from getting his wish. Just out of curiosity, play if this happens. Jaedong advances. Who do you think wins? SOS or Jaedong? We know your answer. Roddy, how about you?
I've been saying SOS all weekend long, so I think
You
SOS
would
will
stay
win.
with that.
But I think SOS, even though he said he would like to play Jaedong, I think against Maru he's going to have a better time because I think Maru plays quite similar to what we just saw Bomber do. So SOS seems to be pretty damn good against that style. Against Jaedong is going to be harder, and I'm very curious to see how good his PvC is these days. But
then are you surprised that SOS said, yeah, I'd like to face?
No, I think it's just,
Jaedong.
you know, because Jaedong is the bigger name still.
Wants the harder challenge.
No, I think he probably believes it's an easier matchup for him. To be versus Jaedong rather than Maru. I mean, Maru is... He might not be the best turn versus Protoss, but he knows how to multitask, how to play very well in general. And I don't know, SOS probably has some confidence versus Zerg.
I agree, Jaedong does not know how to play in general.
Protoss has been doing pretty well against Zerg these days. And then Sulky was like, no, Protoss is not. And then Dier was like, well, yes, Protoss is. And followed him. So maybe SOS is quite confident in the matchup.
Well, can I say this too?
Sure.
The audience today has kicked some serious ass. You guys are freaking awesome. Thank you. It is so cool when they call those players out, and it's actually rumbling. Tasteless said it felt like Jurassic Park. It did.
It is
but
actually
like
rumbling.
17 T-Rexes coming down. It's crazy.
All right, guys, it sounds like the players are ready. Game 4 of our second semifinal is moments away. Let's send it back to the caster's desk and get this game underway.
Thank you, Marcus. You know, Frost, the biggest map that we have in the map pool, the biggest map that has really been in the pro gaming circuit. Now, normally we say bigger maps favor Zerg, but once it gets too big, suddenly it's hard for the Zerg to manage the multiple drop aggression. We got the chance to see Startail Hack annihilate Jaedong on this map, building way more medevacs than the average Terran player, and that is definitely up Maru's alley in terms of style.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with his harass engagement style. Maybe that could play into it. Maybe we'll go to game number 5. We're going to find out soon as the map has just now loaded. Let's get noisy in here, guys. We're going on to game number 4 with Maru and Jaedong.
Spawning down in the bottom right-hand corner. Was down 0-2, his life on the line. He's managed to put a win on the table. Can he do it again? From Team Prime, it is Maru!
The legend from Brood War, not satisfied with that alone, is now interested and very close to being the champion of WCS 2013. Make some noise for Jaedong.
Thousands of people here in the StarCraft 2 hall, packed up, all the seats full, people standing in the background. There's those thunder sticks with glowy tips.
There's so many people here, man. This is so crazy. We got a quick barracks here. Inside the main here for Maru. So Maru not going to go for command center first here. They are both hugging the right side of the map.
This is a pretty tough position for Jaedong to be in.
Yeah, there's 2 angles to get to the opposing player's base. You can go up the center, which is more, a little bit of a kind of a C-turn line, or you can zigzag up the right side. But that means that you can have counterattacks on both sides. It's hard to get good angling a lot, especially in mid-game.
Here's going to be the strategy for Maru. He wants to jam as many units up that right edge as possible. There's no way to be surrounded. You know exactly the side that Zerg can approach you from. Oh, Jaedong. Here's Jaedong's plan. You know what's hard to do on a big map? Scout. Time to go 3 hatch before pool. Remember in game 1, what did he do? Never mind, guys. Guys, this is enough. He's not going to do it.
All right. All right. So he just... he wanted to mine a mineral from there. I think he might have done that, and I don't know if he scouted something. He might have seen the SCV over there or the Marine. So, okay, so he's going to get the command center down here. The Overlord now being chased out.
Is he going to lose an Overlord? That's a pretty tremendous loss. It's at 80 hit points now.
Yeah, if he loses that, that would be a big no-no, especially this early in the game. It's getting
oh
pretty low,
my.
actually.
21.
This is actually not forgivable.
Oh, no!
Guys, that just does not happen. Even low masters, I mean, you just don't lose the first Overlord. Dude, this is a big hiccup in the build order now.
Dude, there's Bronze Leaguers in here right now going, that's embarrassing.
Yeah. Well said. So, now, Jaedong can recover, but this is definitely annoying because the early game in StarCraft 2 is so mapped out for these guys that to have to deviate from that and have your rhythm a little bit off,
yeah.
In a moment that's important as this is frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it's
even
like,
to actually be on stage with all these people watching lose the Overlord like that is pretty painful.
I mean, it's like driving a motorcycle at 400 miles an hour, and then you just drive over a pebble. Crash immediately. I mean, that's how fragile these builds are. Jaedong is going to be advancing forward with his first Lings, trying to spot what he can. Interestingly, Maru has selected the opening that is going to be best against the sort of I killed off the Overlord play. Double gas down. There's only two things that Maru can be doing now. Double factory Blue Flame Hellion, the popular choice on this map, or Hellion Banshee.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he chooses to do. You know, Maru so barely won that last game. I mean, Jaedong was actually behind, or I want to say like 90% of the game in supply. He was behind and still holding his own.
Absolutely incredible play.
Really crazy. I mean, oftentimes just about 20 supply behind, and that's a tough hold.
Factory 2 has just gone down. And you know,
now it's possible he's going to just get a bunch of Hellions. There's different variations of how, are you going to get Blue Flame Hellions, or are you going to get just double reactored Hellions? But what this strategy is hinged on is blazing into your opponent's base, surprising them, burning down all the workers, and then, you know, from there, the Zerg's so behind, you have a series of other options you can go to win the game. But if it doesn't work, then either Terran is stuck going mech, which I don't really think would be good on this map for the way it's shaped, or the Terran has to switch into bio but is behind because of the decision to get those Hellions out early on.
Oh, Jaedong struggled against this in the WCS North American, both in Season 2 and 3. Now this upgrade, the Infernal Pre-Igniter, the Blue Flame upgrade, is about 2 minutes to build. And look at this, Jaedong's getting Overlord speed. He's not quite sure what's going on. He could get the scout off, but how do you deal with Blue Flame Hellions with just Zerglings?
Yeah, that's a big factor here. It's going to come down to angling, really. I mean, if he gets a bad angle, the Zerg does, and the Hellions can just utilize the way they deal the damage in a line like that, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. But don't forget that in game number 3, excuse me, when the Hellions came in, Jaedong just trapped him very easily, at least on that first one.
Oh, this is such a tense moment. This is where my heart begins to fail because everything can change in an instant. Jaedong scouting in. He moves in to the natural.
See it.
He sees it. He sees the Blue Flame is down.
And he sees the second. He knows 100% now. Now, will Jaedong be able to engineer the defense necessary in this very short window of time? The Hellions almost there. It looks like he's going to have a nice wall off here with a Roach Warren inside. I believe that's a full wall off.
It is a full wall off. Those drones are actually trapped on the outside. Blue Flame is finished just now.
Okay, this is so sick. He can cancel, escort the drones inside, and seal up his entrance.
He's got to start sealing it up fast. He's already lost a single queen. How is Jaedong's unit control going to pull this one off? It's an okay surround, but is it enough? Back in the corner, Maru roasts the Zerglings. All of them have fallen, and Jaedong's drones are marching back to the expansion. That's not where they want to be.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's bringing these drones back. Okay, well, that was a failed attack then by Maru. Jaedong is in great shape.
Oh my God.
That was really nice with the drone that we have here, the Roach Warren he set up to wall that in. I mean, that was really safe type play. Now the Hellions aren't done yet. Looks like he might not be going for too much more aggression because he's going to get rid of just the creep tumors. He's not going for, you know, the money play, which is to take out the drones. He wants to keep these Hellions alive so that he's safe for when he transitions into bio. As you can see, +1 attack and +1 armor here for Terran, and Stim is on the way.
Roach Warren looks like it is going to be the choice for Jaedong. He's going to be going straight for speed. His layer's done. Will he be going Spire? Well, not for a little bit. It looks like those Hellions are doing a nice job denying the creep spread. The queen count up at 5. Roach, not as quick a transition.
All right, we have the barracks now coming down here. But remember, because of these Hellions that we see right here, he's not going to be able to get them out any quicker. We have the 4th base on the way, and I don't know if Maru's going to end up scouting that. That would be the most logical place for a Zerg to take, but, well, hold on thought, actually, because we have the Lings coming up over here.
Oh, my God. Again,
a
Maru.
run by
Maru's making big errors like this again and again, letting Zergling slip into his front and see everything that's going on. The supply lead does rest with Jaedong, and oh my god, Nick. Jaedong has a missed rally point at the north at the third hatch. There he's going to be able to see it. But I think
that's actually a big deal, because, yeah, he did have a bad rally point, and that could be one of these situations where you're just like, I swear to God I had more units, but he did fix that.
He's going Roach speed, Baneling speed, 2-2. He's not getting up to 6 geysers. I think we're going to be seeing a Roach, Ling, Baneling bust at the third.
Yeah, I think you're right. It looks like he just wants to end this. He realizes that Maru can't do too many different things at once. He's going for mass marines and trying to expand. Jaedong can punish that. And he's got more and more roaches coming out here. The upgrade's looking very good. Maru's gonna have to put that siege tank into a really good position, because that's gonna be one of the key points for whether or not he holds this base.
This is as close a situation as can be. Jaedong has essentially declared himself no more economy. He has 64 drones, and he thinks that's gonna be plenty enough. But when does he choose to reveal? Well, looks like the mine count is still relatively low. He's only got 4 mines. This is an exposed base.
Looks, well, excuse me, we have the roaches now coming down here, headed southbound.
A very, very tense game.
And he's pushing the creep out really, really well. I like the sensor tower here, just to spot and see if there's anything else that's going to attack him in that location. Because if Maru loses his third base, he's in a lot of trouble.
Well, it looks like Maru is seeing a flood of units. He is walling himself up. Now, Jaedong might just build these units and then not attack. There's the Banelings have been revealed, and it looks like, oh, Blue Flame Hellions, these are critical for the defense. These are key. They get knocked down, and Jaedong says that now's the time.
He's not stopping. He's going to keep pushing forward. Is there too much? Widow Mines decimating so many Zerg units, but the Terran is going all the way back to his second base. Still more Banelings now coming in here. The bunker being torn down. Roaches over at the third.
Has Jaedong done it? Has he advanced to the finals? The Natural is under fire.
Is this the beginning of the end?
Spire goes down. The third is going to fall. Maru has to retreat to his natural expansion. The bunker at the back is not enough. The orbital command center is burning down. The front still not secured. Fourth base down for Jaedong. He has all the options. 122 to 80 supply, and Maru is shot back to 2 base.
Completely wiping out all these depots in any position that Maru had. This is going to be an incredibly difficult situation to get out of. In fact, Jaedong may even go in for a kill here if he wants to, by making a bunch more Banelings. The Spire, by the way, also on the way. Fourth will not be contested.
What an incredible series. What a sequence by Jaedong. He's smashed down the third. What did he see his opponent building? Siege tanks, the 2 factories at the start. He needs to use those defensively. But you know what doesn't shoot up very well? Siege tanks, Nick.
That's
He's going
true.
Straight into the Spire transition.
Never said anything truer.
I don't like to lie on air, Nick.
Well, we have Maru trying to push out and just gain some ground, maybe push back that creep. Maru is going to take this base over here. Now, if he loses this location again, I don't think it's possible for Maru to gain any lead at all in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just the hiccup in the mining timing, the amount of workers that are lost. Everything it's really bad.
Yeah, 31 workers killed off by Jaedong in this game, and the Mutalisks are coming out now. There's 12 Mutalisks that are going to be joining in. Maru at his natural expansion doesn't really have too much other than his rally points. He's sending out some medevacs to do some maybe damage, but Jaedong's lockdown on this vision is too tight.
Yeah, and you know, he's getting mutas now, so usually drops tend to lose their efficacy once mutas are on the map, because they can just get hunted down. Jaedong right now at 174 supply to 146. The medevac's picking up, but these mutas are en route right now.
Mutalisks have total freedom. They're going to pick off SCVs at the third base. Continued devastation by Jaedong, who's locked up his own bases tight at Jaedong's natural expansion. 3 Spore Crawlers to prevent any drop. Over at the top left, 2 Spine Crawlers to deal with any missed medevacs, and the creep spread, amazingly, is almost to the third base of Maru on Frost.
All right, another scan here. He's going to try to edge out, but this whole map is booby-trapped right now. Jaedong coming down. He's going to pick up again. We do have a drop in the upper left.
Oh, Jaedong spots it like it's nothing. Zerglings and Mutalisks rushing up to meet it. Easy target fires.
This is bad for Maru. Nice micro there, by the way, moving away with his mutas. He's gonna, I think, actually just corner this medevac right here.
Great target firing by Maru to try to reduce the Mutalisk numbers. Only 10 remain, and he is able to boost out of there in time, but the Mutalisk provide chase. 82 Zerglings coming out. It's going to be all the way up to 100 Zerglings soon, and Maru has the right idea in mind. There is one attack left for Maru.
I think Jaedong is interested in dishing out the killing blow. Can Maru hold on? If Maru holds on, maybe he still has a chance, but he has to keep this third. Oh God, he's unsieged. He's unsieged. He's unsieged.
Will the Burrowed Banelings be enough? Will Jaedong retreat? He's getting out of there.
Yeah, there are.
Oh my God, Jaedong!
You're kidding me. He has no, he scans, but he doesn't know about the 4 that are down here at the bottom of the screen. He's literally in between two
counterattack at the far south.
Moving up here now.
To the natural expansion. Jaedong's going to begin storming in from the top, but the natural is under fire. There's Banelings and Roaches there. Burrowed Banelings haven't popped up yet.
Okay,
and there it is.
Nice detonation there. Lynx tearing up the main. You can see Jaedong knows he can probably end this. He's just surveying all of the area around the Terran's base to try to figure out what's the best way to execute Maru in this game.
And it looks like the Widow Mines all detonate. They're all designed to pick off the Mutalisks, but in this position, the Mutalisk count is still not very high. 14, 11 more in production. We see burrowed Zerglings in the main. Jaedong knows how to use that burrow so effectively to lock down Terran aggression. But here's what I'm worried about, Nick. +3's done for Maru, and there's not a transition out for Jaedong. He's just now gotten Hive. He's getting 3-3. He needs to get Adrenal Glands, Infestors, something to help support this big force.
The Muta's just trying to shave off anything Terran here and there. It looks like he's setting up again for another big attack. There's Lynx in the main. I don't know how they got there, but...
I mean, this burrow is so nice for Jaedong. He's continuing to do these big swing arounds, and look at the left side. The natural expansion seems to be the vulnerable point in Jaedong's eyes.
Okay, the Muta's now regrouping here. Jaedong is now identified also that he's going to try to take the 4th here. Oh man, that is just barely out of vision.
And there's the connection down at the south side. Jaedong in true Zerg fashion, Nick.
He's got to be so careful here. Now the attack is coming down here. We have a big army coming down from the north as well. Now burrowing these Banelings is Maru. Does Maru have his eyes everywhere? Now taking out the siege tanks.
Oh no. The Banelings at the natural expansion, and he's not going to be able to get them off. Jaedong is everywhere. Maru can't even leave his base, and there's a pack of 5 Banelings there ready to rip down anything that walks on top of it.
It's actually so hard to follow all the different things that Jaedong is doing to beat Maru in this game right now. There is so much action happening everywhere. Now, Maru still has that 3rd base, is taking the 4th base. If Maru can last this out, maybe he can do a counter push here, but again, still Jaedong maxed out and now finishing up everything else in the Zerg tech tree, so he has every possible option.
Well, with the Thors out, it's another sign that Maru feels defensive. He feels like he's on the back foot, but Jaedong's counterattacks are never ending. He's preparing yet another assault at the 3rd. Those 5 burrowed Banelings in between the bases are still a threat, and Jaedong's also sweeping with Mutalisks to try to do another doubled up assault hitting at the bottom left. But it looks like Maru is going to be doing his first ride out to meet Jaedong, and Jaedong's going to have to start playing mighty defensively. The double drops at the bottom left also get spotted down.
You can see Jaedong has Maru completely surrounded here. Maru really does not have any room to get out on the map. There's still traps inside of Maru's base that he doesn't know about. He could even unbrow those, for instance, and try to go hit the 4th, the workers that are there. There's a lot of different ways that Jaedong has this. I mean, you got to give Maru credit for even staying in this game for this long. Okay, now, he's going to try to chase these SCVs away, but it does not work. And Maru is still... beginning to stabilize very slowly. You can see Jaedong has backed off and is saying, all right, I'm just going to try to get more ahead now.
Well, Jaedong's now going to begin to try to apply pressure to the south base. Maru is going to get an opportunity to burrow these mines, and Jaedong has to retreat. Maru is just barely hanging on in this position. I mean, he is at 4 base, though. I mean, he does have the opportunity to stabilize.
Yeah, he absolutely can. I mean, you get Terran on 4 base, all mining, and then they're in great shape. They can go all the way into the end game with a Zerg.
With 5 Ultralisks popping out now, it's going to be up to the fungal growths. The mine count not very high. decent number of everything, but Jaedong's just not letting his armies join together. He's just doing more and more and more and more countering.
Looks like he was actually trying to free up some supply there since he was maxed out. And Jaedong has the ability now to transition throughout the rest of this game into any tech he wants. So he can continuously try to hard counter the unit composition coming here from Maru. Maru now running here with his medevac. It is taken out. The Muta's retreat now.
And I mean, in the meantime, Jaedong has secured bases in the top left, covered in spines and spores. It's not really going to be an opportunity for Maru to get cross map. Maru's going to have to soon begin deciding, does he even want to abandon his bases? Does he even want to try to go for a much longer game? I mean, Jaedong's had this on total lockdown, but Maru's managed to figure out how to stay alive and is almost at 3-3 himself.
Okay, a few bungles being thrown out here. Jaedong actually backing up. He may want to try to lead him onto the creep, onto Jaedong's turf. Small counterattack coming in over here. Will it hit those SCVs? We'll find out shortly.
Oh, there's the Zerglings heading into the third, and oh, Mines being a little bit crueler to the Terran SCVs than to anything else.
And it looks like that was an inconsequential attack.
Yeah.
But it did keep Maru, make Maru back up for just a little bit. Counterattacks are incredibly strong on this map because there's all these different lanes you can go down.
Yes, definitely. Maru's going to try to, he's got a big attack he's got to deal with. This is swinging in the front. We see that there's no siege tanks anywhere nearby. Things are getting ripped to shreds. The Mutalisk also storming in, but Maru seems to be holding strong. It looks like the Terran army's a little bit too much for Jaedong.
He's barely pushing back.
No way.
No, it's just not quite
enough. He's gonna take it out, and Maru manages to hold.
The supplies are even now. I can't believe that. There was a Thor kiting an Ultralisk back there. That was how close that was. Now we have Lings just trying to deflect any harass that comes in here from Maru. But Maru actually obliterated everything that Jaedong has. Jaedong has restarted now. Granted, both these guys are going to max it again really quickly. I mean, they have really strong economies.
I can't even believe I'm going to say this, but Jaedong might starve Maru on 4 bases. But
yeah, that actually might happen.
But what's happening is we're seeing Jaedong, he's picked off the medevacs. There is one on this left side, and it is wreaking havoc. The Mutalisk pack is gone. No more Mutalisks on this field. I think Jaedong may have made the one key error. As weird as it sounds, Maru has been waiting for an error from Jaedong all series long.
Okay, now let's stay on this shot here with this expansion. This is really important. Everywhere else on the map is basically impossible for Terran to expand to. Terran's not mobile. This base, really hard to hold. If Maru can actually hold that, this game could go on for a lot longer. Zerg, much more mobile. And Jaedong will do everything in his power to deny that base from getting there. Because if he can do that, he will dry Maru up economically, and Maru will have to forfeit the game.
We're seeing Broodlords in production at the natural expansion. Jaedong getting picked away at ever so slightly up at the north, and it looks like Maru gets distracted briefly. We'll keep those alive, but no Corruptors are heading up to join these medevacs. Jaedong is amazingly defensive right now.
We now have, with this tech transition, the multitude of options for Jaedong. I am trying to imagine a scenario where this bottom base can actually be secured. It's really going to be difficult here.
I mean, the production is the answer. Maru's making no mines, no tanks, nothing that isn't lightning quick. And interestingly, this Broodlord Infestor suffers against exactly the army that Maru's building.
You make a great point, Sean, because when you end up facing Broodlord Infestor, you just don't engage it. You just kind of run away from it and attack somewhere else.
South base, under fire. Small pack of Lings proved to be too much, but big push in the middle. Jaedong is moving forward with all of his forces to meet it. Zerglings on the left, Ultra Infestor on the right, and Maru is going to try to engage.
All right, Maru picks up now. He's got to get away from those Infestors. Nicely done. He's trying to steer the Broodlord, this death ball that we just saw. He's trying to steer this away.
Yes.
From any of his bases. So we're going to see a lot of counterattacks from Maru. We're going to see Maru behaving kind of like a Zerg here.
God, the defense of Maru has been incredible this game. To think that he had been battered back to 2 bases due to a brutal Roachling Baneling all in from Jaedong, who then snapped back and continued to apply pressure with Mutalisk, Burrow, everything in the book. But is this the Doom Army to end the game?
Okay, he's now coming down here. keep in mind, this is an immobile army, or well, very immobile army here from the Zerg. He has to go very slowly. Now Maru's going around. He's dropping here. He's also got a small group of units moving around here. We could get into a really weird base trade scenario.
Jaedong's got to be careful. He's got to pull away from that command center. The Planetary is dealing a lot of damage. Jaedong is about to lose his critical mining bases. He hasn't taken the center base.
They're actually about to go into a complete economic drought here. Somehow, Maru actually managed to get almost all of his entire army up here to the upper left, and he's going to take everything out.
Baneling's moving in. Jaedong having an answer. Maru still trying to apply pressure through, but Maru's main is not going to be around long. These Banelings got to be the heroes to keep Jaedong's Expos alive, and it looks like he's managed to clear out most of the forces.
He absolutely has. Meanwhile, these Broodlords and Infestors are slowly chewing through the remainder of Maru's base here. Maru may actually have to pick up and start hiding buildings elsewhere. The only thing going for Maru really is this small mobile army and this base at the bottom left that the Zerg could take out at any second.
33 drones to 20 SCVs. These players have hardly any economy. The income tab shows that these players are just plummeting down to almost nothing. But Jaedong hasn't yet counterattacked the most important part on the map, the bottom left expansion for Maru. That is all the opportunity for Maru's future game right now. But Jaedong's going to be carving out the main. No supply depots, no production, nothing else. It means that there's one army left remaining for Maru, and it is the one at the north.
They are both in the red right now. They can't even produce anything. This is a game that went to supreme endgame, high economy, and is turned upside down.
Oh,
it is a race of two players just trying to eliminate each other's bases, and I have no idea who's going to win.
The bottom left must be the target. Jaedong has spotted the bottom left expansion. The main is his target now. Production tab is virtually empty. And here comes the push to the main. Is Maru going to do it? Is he going to be able to close it out? A Ling Ultra Force heading in. The bottom expansion is not mining. There's almost no buildings on this map for Maru.
He's going to go try to kite this army up here on the high ground. Jaedong is now out positioned in his base.
Where are the buildings? There's no more buildings. This is it.
I think this is it.
Jaedong.
If Maru loses all his buildings, he loses the game.
In an elimination race with no income on either side, Jaedong takes Maru to the supreme late game, wins the series 3-1, and now is in his 5th 2013 final.
Incredible. He's done it. He's moving on. DJ Reed, what is everybody thinking?
You guys, Jaedong advances to the finals to join SOS for the 2013 WCS Global Finals. The chants of the crowd say everything right here. He went up 2 games. SOS brought one back, but wasn't able to close it. Jaedong, the one able to close that book. I want to actually go to Rotterdam with our first thoughts here on this matchup. There was so much discussion actually about the back and forth that happened in that game. And although it might not have looked that way at the end, there was certainly a lot going on in game number 4.
Game number, yeah, no, definitely. It was absolutely insane. We were just all losing our mind over here. If you try to, sum up that game, where do you even start? The Roach Bane all in, it was good, and it turned into a long game. At a certain point, Maru had a fantastic fight, and we were all like, is he actually doing this? But Jaedong, his macro, his non-stop counterattacks, the fact that he was able to get like that 5th, 6th, 7th base, and all with static defenses as well, and distractors, absolutely insane play by Jaedong. I have no idea how he controlled and did everything at the same time. I guess this is where APM truly pays off.
I think it's safe to say that that game we just saw was one of the best games we've seen in a very, very long time.
I mean, there was a lot. You were saying Jaedong's playing out of his mind. At one point, Apollo was even like, as Jaedong was taking the lead, he's like, guys, I mean, still have to say how awesomely Maru is playing right now too.
Yeah. And I think that's, I mean, it's such an incredible moment for Jaedong, but Maru was down and out. Like, I was over here already celebrating. I'm like, oh, it's over. And everyone's like, well, I don't know, maybe if he does this and that. And Maru climbed back in, and he was getting beat down all game long. Like, the drops were getting picked off by Jaedong right and left. The Mutalisk switch was doing a lot of damage to his only 3rd base. I think some of those Widowmine shots really saved Maru, but then he was able to capitalize on that in that big fight with all of the Infestors, the Ultras, and the Mutalisk going down mid-map when the Terran player Maru still has 4 bases. That is a red flag for Zerg players. It's so hard because they remax He remaxed on 92 Zerglings or something like that.
And that's all he had on that point.
That's scary. It was all his minerals. He didn't have a giant bank. So,
Todd, what do you think?
I feel like the game started off a little bit slow. Like, not too much was happening. Like, they were trying to do what they have to. And then suddenly Jaedong enabled God mode, and like, he sent the Zerglings into the natural. The Mutas were picking off the tank. Like, from there, Jaedong played so well. He did everything right. He had overlords everywhere. At some points, he had some insane star sense. He placed his Mutas on the bottom left-hand side. He was like, I have an advantage now. The only way this guy can come back is with some nice drops. So he started making Spore in his natural. He placed his Mutas on the bottom left-hand side of the map. Medivacs flew in.
Yeah.
He predicted everything that Maru was going to do. He sent Banelings everywhere. He had some nice Banelings. That was one of the most impressive games I think that I've ever seen of StarCraft.
I mean, Roddy was quoted during this match as saying like Jaedong is playing out of his mind, and it's one of the few times you actually get to see at least a nice display of the utility from the burrowed Banelings to the creep in the west side of the base that spotted that double medevac drop. I mean, there really was so much that you just looked at as sort of in awe.
He wasn't missing the burrowed Banelings too. That was the crazy part. Like, he's actually counterattacking with Lings in the main base, using his mules to target down the tanks.
Right.
And he had pockets of little burrowed Banelings that he was actually picking up on. It was incredible.
I think that's one of the craziest things when we look at players like Jaedong, one of the brutal legends that moved into StarCraft 2. I think one of the first things we started to look at was these guys played that game, which was arguably harder at such a fast speed. They were doing things that it's impossible for anybody else. And we were able to see that today in that game, that Jaedong was able to go another level, to reach another height, because he played, probably as Todd just mentioned, one of the most impressive plays that we've seen. There was so much going on, and he was able to do it all, everything, all at once.
All right, guys. Well, guess what? We've got SOS versus Jaedong coming up next, but we want to hear from the winner from that last semifinal. Let's throw it back to Chobra on the main stage.
Again, do I need to introduce this man or what? It is EG Jaedong moving on to the finals here at BlizzCon 2013 for the WCS Global Finals. It's been an incredibly emotional run for Jaedong this weekend, and I want to see what's running through his head right now. 진짜 어제 백동준 선수 상대로도 정말 감동적인 게임이었는데 오늘도 또 다시 한번 마지막 게임 정말 힘겹게 이기시면서 감동적인 모습을 보여주셨어요. 기분이 지금 어떠세요?
말로 표현할 수 없을 만큼 기쁘고요. 제가 결승에 다시 한번 이렇게 올라가게 됐는데 올해는 준우승만 했는데 정말 좋은 기회가 온 것 같아요. 그래서 4강에서 이겼지만 우승을 하지 못하면 의미가 없다고 생각합니다.
I'm speechless. That's just how happy I am right now. And as a lot of people know, I've always been runner-up this year, all year long. So it's another final opportunity for me to try to take that title. And if I can't take it, even though I won a good semifinal, it actually won't mean as much for me because of that record this year. Now we know who he's going to have to face off. It's going to be SOS. And a lot of people earlier in the year used to say, you know, Jaedong's EVP, it's not that impressive. It's been shaky. But he's proved us wrong at Gamescom before. Let's see how he feels about that matchup. 그럼 이제 상대는 김유진 선수 벌써 정해졌죠. 프로토스로 하면서 지난번에 WCS 시즌2 결승전에서도 조금 팬분들이 걱정할 수도 있다. 프로토스 상대로 좀 그동안 전적이 안 좋았는데 그때 정말 보여주셨어요. 정말 많은 준비를 했다. 오늘은 기분이 어떠세요?
8강에서 백동준 선수 우승자잖아요. 그리고 4강에서 조성주 선수 테란이고 또 우승자고 제가 다 이겼기 때문에 지금은 제 적수가 없다고 생각해요.
You know, in the round of 8, I faced Deer, and he's a current champion. I took him down. I faced Mara, once again, another champion of this year, Terran, but I took him down. Who's going to take me on now? I don't think there's any enemies who can stand up to me. Once again, it's another finalist for BlizzCon 2013, EG Jaedong. Back to you, Marcus.
Thank you very much, Chobra. Guys, we are so close to the grand finals of the 2013 WCS Global Finals. It's SOS versus Jaedong. Will Jaedong capture another second place, or will he take the BlizzCon crown, or will SOS come out of the round or the top 16 to take that title and $100,000 when we return the grand finals of BlizzCon 2013? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Apollo.